Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Got a topic that is not an average topic. Got a topic that may not be an average topic. A lot of people don't talk about it often, but we're
I
gonna
hate
talk
this
about it
topic.
today because that's what we do here on The Morning Glow. We talk about things. We talk about things. Sometimes they're popular, sometimes they're not. But before we go any further, before we go another step further, another iota of a step, I got to say good morning to Christy. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How are
You, you,
y'all? All my
you,
morning glow family.
you know I got on headphones, right? You know I got on headphones this morning. You know I got on
I know
headphones.
I did it purposely because you're not shining this morning. I see a little hair on that side.
Look here, look here, look here. You know I got on headphones this morning. I got on headphones now. You can't be yelling in my ear now. Hold on now. Yeah,
I see your hair on the side when you turn. So are you not shining like you normally shine?
look here. You see this right here? No, no,
Nuh-uh.
you see this right here? Y'all see that right there?
I see that Saints cup right there.
You see this right here? Look at
I
that.
see
See
that Saints cup.
that reflection? See that reflection? That's what's gonna blind everybody this year and get us all over to the victory in the Super Bowl, to the
Boy,
victory.
you know them Saints got it. Yeah, they cheated us out of it for 2 years, but we got it.
Man, y'all ain't got no quarterback, man. How he putting his foot in his mouth.
It's all right though. We don't need him. We was good before him. We're gonna be good after him. Ha!
Look at
He
here.
did
Yeah,
good for us. He did
that
good
joker put,
for us.
that joker put barbecue sauce, salt, and pepper on his shoe before he ate them words. I'm just
He
saying.
be all right.
Xavier,
You just mad because you're not shining this morning.
Xavier. Oh man, look at this dude here, man. Look at
That's
this
all
dude.
I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Good
Look at
morning.
Wake up and go to sleep.
yeah, y'all had a good run, man. But look, you got teams that's coming up on y'all, man. That kick y'all door in, brother.
Well, I mean, this past season wasn't the best for us. I mean, I admit that. However,
See,
everybody,
what?
everybody
However,
something they told every now and then.
Look at
So
see what
they
had
talking
happened
more than
is
that then.
mm-hmm. See what had happened is yeah, what had happened. That's how we're
I'm
gonna deal with
listening.
I'm just
Look,
saying.
that's when everybody come with them excuses. What
it.
was the
Well,
excuse?
well,
Mm-hmm.
just saying. Just
Exactly.
saying. Just
And
saying.
let's jump into this topic, man, because this topic gonna take us about
I
5, and we got
don't
you know
like
what
this.
yeah, it look here. It's reality though. And see, and to me, that's a double standard. What you just did is an absolute double standard because when we talk about deadbeat dads, everybody's on board with the conversation. Everybody want to have they got the input when they talk about the deadbeat dads and this is dead and oh he ain't this and he ain't that. But what about let's because I know some brothers out there that they're raising their kids on their own, and there are situations deadbeat moms. Well, deadbeat moms, they're not stepping up to the plate. I know some situations where the mom just turned and gave the kids to the dad and walked away
See
and
that
and and did
I couldn't mute myself.
and did not look back. But Chrissy, you wouldn't do it. But my thing is this right here. It happens and it happens every day. It happens every day. There's kids out there that's wondering where's mama? Did what mama at? Why mama ain't here no more? And to me, and I see it all the time. I see it all the time that the only love only love that tops a mother's love is God's love. And to have that mother, to have that mom to walk away from her children, one that she carried for 9 months. She carried these kids for 9 months. There's an attachment there that that man shouldn't be able to break. There's an attachment there that man should. You carry them kids. That if it's only just one, you carry that child inside of you for 9 months. Went through the pain of birthing that child. You went through the pain. Nobody felt that pain but you. Yeah, the dad was there. Yeah, you squeezed her hand and did all the things, but no, but you felt that pain. As a mother, you're the only one that felt that pain. You felt the pain, and you felt the joy from the release of that pain when that child was born, and then they take that precious little angel, and they lay that precious little angel on your chest. And now now the connection is stronger because now you can not only can you feel and go through the motion, but you can actually see. You can see this child. You can look at this child. And as you're looking at this child, life happens. What could be so terrible to make a mother turn her back on her child? Christy, talk to me.
I don't know if you want to come to me on this subject because I have this is real personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost didn't. I almost set this out, but I prayed to God. Because you have, to me, for a woman, there's something serious that happens or has happened for her to leave her kids. We may not know the inner being or the inner circle, what's going on between a man and a woman, but I can speak for myself when I can tell you my kids were taken away from me by the
Mm-hmm.
court because in my divorce, I was a stay-at-home mom. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I chose to do. He was the one that provided for the family, and
Mm-hmm.
he did provide well. But when he became emotionally and physically abusive and controlling, I decided to pack up and leave. I took my kids with me when I left.
Mm-hmm.
And at the point of when we had to go to court, because I was stay at home mom, I got a job, got me a 2-bedroom apartment. At this time, I was living in Houston. So you can imagine a rent that's $1,500 a month plus. But
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't provide a 4-bedroom home, they decided that they would be more financially stable with their father.
Mm-hmm.
And as controlling as he is, he used that to try to get me to come back. And then when I had my mom got sick and I had to move back with my mom, it was even more so even difficult. He was afraid I'm going to steal my kids. He wouldn't let me see my children. It was a whole bunch of mess. And I finally, thank God, got sole custody of my kids. But I believe in that. He told my kids a whole lot of different things. Where your mom at? And
Mm-hmm.
he remarried, and that woman fed into that. So I have a strong sense about, we don't know domestic violence is real. Men sometimes use children as bait for women. And women may be on drugs, mental issues, going through all different things to leave their children. Depression, postpartum depression, all that stuff is real. But a man that's a deadbeat become a dime a dozen. It's no circumstances around a man leaving. He can walk out from his home. And I'm not talking about the ones that are there. Raheem, you're a good father. You're a good man. Frank, he's a good father. He's a good man. He's going to be there for his children. I'm not talking about all men here. But there are several men in our community who are and need to be raised to a standard of being there for their children. I'm speaking in my community. Like I say in Winfield, it's a small circle. I can count on my hands, my toes, my hair strand on how many men walk away from their children to get with another woman with children and do for those children, but don't do for their own kids. I
Mm-hmm.
don't find that with women. And I have not seen that in my community, in women who leave their children. Now, I do know that one woman that I do know of in our community was on drugs real bad.
Mm-hmm.
And she left the kids with the father, and she went to rehab and got help. So to me, and this is just Christy, I can't speak for the whole world. I'm talking about what I've seen in my experiences. I have seen more deadbeat dads than I have seen deadbeat women or deadbeat mothers. So my view may be a little askew, and
Mm-hmm.
I do know, and I'm going to go ahead and inject this. I do know several men who are single fathers that are great fathers and taking care of their children. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that that doesn't exist. And
Mm-hmm.
I do know some fathers who are held where they can't see their children in the same manner that I was. So I know it's a two-sided coin, but I don't know a deadbeat mom. I know a mom that have problems and issues that she has to work out. And yes, the children suffer. But I would never call her a deadbeat mom. Now, a deadbeat dad,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know plenty.
See, that's
That,
that. See, and Christy, and all due respect, you're my sister. I love you, but that's to me, that's an absolute double standard right there. That's an absolute double standard because if she walks out on her children and we got a phone call. We're gonna go to the phone line. So caller, hold on, coming to you next. We are if we're going to put it out there and lay the platform like it is, and if a dad that walks away from his children is you can embrace it and say that he is a deadbeat dad. He isn't sorry. He's this and he's that. But why is it that when a mother do the same thing, why is she so alienated from that and she don't have those same titles? She's done
Because
the
of the
same thing he's done.
because of the reason she walk away. A man can walk away for anything.
It
I
doesn't
have
matter.
seen men.
The
I
truth,
haven't
the
seen.
truth you don't
It
understand,
does. It's different.
Christy, the
I've
children,
seen men walk away for other women.
Hold on, Christy. The children don't know and don't have any idea, or it doesn't matter to them what the reason is. Only thing they know is mama's not here. Daddy's not here. That's all the children know. Now we could dress this thing up, put a pretty little bow on it, but at the end of the day, only thing the children know, and that's who's hurt. These two are
Either
grown adults. These two grown adults, they do what they do. But the children are the ones that's suffering in a situation when
you're
the mother
right.
or the father leaves. And so they
You're
don't
right. You are
they
right. The children are suffering either way, but their mother's still not a deadbeat. Because in my situation, I
she's a
was a
dead
deadbeat mom because I was put on child
no.
support.
Christy,
I was put
Christy,
where I couldn't
say,
see my
Christy, let
children.
me say this. Christy, let me say this to you. Your situation is different. No, we don't put you in the category of being a deadbeat mom because your situation and your circumstances are different. We're not talking about you. It's not
But
personal.
I'm saying,
We're not no,
but
we're
that's
not
what I'm
personal.
telling you.
No,
It's
no, 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 no.
different situations like that where you can put women in that category to where it won't be a deadbeat.
I know situations, Christian, where the mother has walked away from the children. The court wasn't involved. She made a choice. She made a decision to walk away from those children. And because of the fact that she did that, I categorize her just like you would categorize a man. You would call him a deadbeat dad. I call her a deadbeat mom because she didn't take to the responsibility to do. Nobody forced her out. Nobody forced. She made a decision to walk away. You say the men have all kind of decisions. She had the same decision as well. So what is the difference? Where does the difference lie?
For me personally, like I say, this is Christy. This
Mm-hmm.
is all Christy all day. I
Mm-hmm.
don't change. We can agree to
Mm-hmm.
disagree, and you'll always be my brother in Christ. I'ma love
Mm-hmm.
you, but to me,
Absolutely.
there
Same
is
way.
no such thing as a deadbeat mom because
Wow.
a mom who
Wow.
I've never seen, and this is just me. Maybe because my world is a little smaller than you guys, because y'all see a lot more than I see. But in the realm that I've lived in the realm that I've functioned in the things that my experiences, the things that I've seen, the things that I've known, that when a woman walks away, it's due to different things. It's not as of a man. A man walks away, he walks away, like you say, by choice. Because he
Who,
walks away from marriage, he walks away from his children.
whose
He
choice?
doesn't pay child support, he
Christy,
doesn't support,
Christy,
he doesn't
Christy,
help.
whose choice was it? Whose choice was it when she walked away? Did the children make that
I don't know
choice?
the situation. So I can't
It
comment on
doesn't
something I
matter.
don't know.
See, it doesn't matter because you're making excuses for these ladies, and we can't allow you to do that. You're making
I'm not
excuses for
making
these ladies.
excuses because I'm telling you something. You have women that are
Christy,
abused mentally, physically, and
and,
emotionally,
and,
and
and
men that are
me,
controlling or narcissistic
Christy,
behavior hold those children
you're
as babies.
making no, Christy, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. You're making excuses for these young
I'm
ladies,
not.
and Christy, yes, you are. Watch this. Watch this. Xavier, I'm going to go to one of the phone calls, but I'm actually real quick. You heard it from the beginning. What do you hear? Do you hear excuses being made right now, or tell me what you hear? Give me a real quick answer. I want to get my callers because I don't know how much time we have.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been a single dad for almost 2 decades, and Chris's response is a direct reflection of the way this country disrespects men. It's a direct reflection. Like, her attitude is exactly how this country has been bred to see men who don't
But
who don't operate the way they believe we should operate.
let me say this, and we're not making excuses for any man. We're not making excuses. We're not
No,
making excuses
not
for
at
him.
all. Not
No,
at
I don't
all.
want anybody to think we're making excuses for him because if
Not
he
at
let
all.
children, he's wrong too. He's just as
But
wrong as you.
that double standard is clear, though.
Mm-hmm.
That double standard is clear. It's unfortunate, but it's clear.
Yeah. Let me go to the phone line. 205 area code. 205 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, everyone. This is Annie from Mississippi.
Annie, good morning, Annie. How you doing?
Good morning, Annie.
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good morning.
Annie, you heard the conversation that we've had this morning. We're talking about deadbeat
Yes.
moms. We're talking about deadbeat moms. Them, is there any difference between a deadbeat mom and a deadbeat dad if she chooses to leave her children? And we're not talking about when she's abused, or we're talking about if she make a conscious decision to walk away from their children, like Christy was saying that a man make a decision to walk away. Now, if the young lady do the same thing, make that same decision, is she categorized as a deadbeat mom? What do you say to that?
Of course she is. In my opinion, there are more deadbeat moms than there are dads. And I tell you the reason I say that. We as mothers, we gave these children life. And a few days ago, I was on social media. I saw a couple of cities, I forget exactly where it was, where women allow men to beat their children, to kill their children, and you knew what was going on. You knew these children were being abused. So if you, as a mother, leave a child with a person who's killing your child, you are a deadbeat mom. There are many deadbeat moms out there because you're sitting up there and you allow these men to babysit these kids, and these kids being abused and being killed, and you laugh off. So that, in my book, you're worse. A woman's way worse to me, way worse to me than a man, because, like I said, we gave these kids life. So I think there are way more deadbeat moms out there. Right now, that's all you see. These women are doing anything to put a man in your home, in your bed. And at the end of the day, the kids are the ones suffering. So I feel like there are way more deadbeat moms out there.
And see, and that's why I love. That's why I love Dickie and Media Group, because we get so many different sides of the coin, man. We deal with every side, because now we have Annie and we have Christy, two young ladies. I'm glad that they're here because I love their perspective on it. But it's two different views. It's totally two different views. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, man? A deadbeat mom, if she make a conscious decision, not in an abusive situation. We're not talking about an abusive situation where she being mistreated, but if she make a conscious decision to walk away from her children, Leonard, is she considered, just as a man would be considered, a deadbeat mom?
Well, first of all, I don't use the term deadbeat mom or deadbeat dad. It's just neglect. So anybody is capable of neglecting their children. That's like Annie just said. That's prevalent. Just because you with them don't mean you doing them no good. If you subjecting them to danger, if you subjecting them to harm and things of that nature, that's neglect. There is no term deadbeat when you're in court. And we call people deadbeats, this, that, and the other. And then you know how we do. We'll change the definition tomorrow. And then we'll argue about this, that, and the other. When the point is the children are neglected. And now they're being neglected to such detriment that they're being raped, molested, murdered, and killed. It's more so the first of all, as Annie said before, regardless of the man, a woman gives birth to those children. So at that level right there, that's neglect. And then you have a man who may or may not know he has children, which is neglectful on the woman's part as well.
Exactly.
Failure to culture a relationship with the child's father is neglect. Not knowing who the child's father is neglect. You're all out of bounds. And you're all out of order. So to try to point at the other one, this, that, no, y'all messed up. Woman, I know you've been given the opportunity to point the finger at everybody, but you was just as responsible for having a child with a person that wasn't gonna take care of them. You didn't even have enough sense to do like an animal would and find the strongest mate. You went and just laid down with anybody, had a baby, didn't probably even care, sat with it 9 months in your room and brought it into the world just to neglect it for your own purpose. So we need to quit pointing the finger at me. You know, it's just so stupid. Like a woman. Well, a man should. I don't care what a man should do. I bet you he ain't gonna never have a woman be pregnant. So you better try to govern yourself accordingly. So the point to blame in this matter, no, I don't do that because it took two. That's how it's designed. And you have to learn how to really be a lot more selective when you start procreating. And babies shouldn't be the products of good times.
Good deal. Good deal. Xavier, what's on your heart, brother? I know I came to you earlier, man, but I wanted that quick version. What's on your heart right now?
Yeah, it's, I can get, Chrissy's frustration. Like, I get it. And Leonard hit the nail right on the head. I mean, we have to expand that definition, because it's more than just walking away. I've seen mothers with kids at home, and they use the kids to raise the other kids. They use the kids to take care of the house while they go out and pursue a party life, dates, and all this other, going to the club and all that kind of foolishness. So it's more than just that neglect piece. Well, it's not more than neglect. It is neglect, but we expand that definition of what neglect is, right? So just because you're, providing a roof or giving food to the kids doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a deadbeat, right? If you're not giving that proper nurturing, that proper time to raise these kids. I've seen more single moms do more damage to kids than I have seen quote unquote absent fathers. I've seen guys who want to be fathers. And so let me ask you this question. Would we consider this neglect? Guys that want to be fathers, but the mother, which the child is 9 times out of 10 going to be given custody. I've seen mothers drag the dad so much to the kids that the kids are not looking at their dad. Oh, he's deadbeat, he don't come around. All he does is pay child support if he pays that. However, the backstory of the relationship with the mom is a bigger issue, right? And so I've seen more women use kids as weapons than I have seen dads use kids as weapons. I've seen that. You mad because the man went off and started a new life with somebody else, and so now you can't see his kids. Now you telling lies to the kids, and so there is a bigger issue. There's a bigger issue other than just women walking away. My kid's mother, she didn't. We came together and said, you know what, this is going to be the better situation. This is going to be the best situation for our kids. And so I would dare not call, whether they were in my house or not, I dare not call them, deadbeat moms. I dare not do that because we both serve our purpose, But I think we have to expand that definition, expand that. What is neglect? The young lady on the phone, talked about it. There are women who are allowing men to come in their homes after dating for 2 weeks. 2 weeks at their house with daughters and kids and carrying on, molesting the kids. Like, we got serious issues outside of a woman just walking away from the kids, that we're not pointing to, that we're not calling deadbeat or neglect. So that's where we at for now.
Exactly. Let me go to the phone line. We got a phone. I'll call it. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Raheem? I have Rashid on the other line. He called in while I was on hold.
Okay.
Also,
good.
Just to let you know.
Okay, good deal. Talk to me.
I do have something to say about this. I think this is a perfect time because we have both genders on the phone to be able to agree that a man or a woman does not have a monopoly on neglect. And so many times when we talk about men that aren't taking care of their children, we think that it's only men that do it. And then now because the topic is deadbeat moms, and then that's the way you brought it out, then of course it's like we're crucifying women. Well, no. I mean, there are some women that are not taking care of their responsibilities. There are some men that aren't taking care of their responsibilities. And then on the flip side of the coin, there's some men that are doing a tremendous job. There's some women, a lot of women that are doing a tremendous job. But I do want to say this. I want to put this out here for anybody that's listening and may find themselves in a situation where they're struggling with the mother or the father of their children. Another person can never stop you from being a parent. They can make it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You can kidnap a child, but know that you're going to be pursued. You're going to face a legal battle. But I'm going to be a father to my child. I don't care what you do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care what the kid thinks. The kid could be saying, I want to be with my mom. That's good. Congratulations. But you're my child.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to grow up knowing me, spending time with me. And I don't know. Okay, that's not my business, so I won't expose it. But I do have a friend that I watched walk that out that did a tremendous job and against a whole lot of odds. And is a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear people saying, I had a man tell me that, hey man, can you be there for my son? His mom won't let me, be in his life. What kind of joker are you? She can't stop you from being his father. You're his father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
that's good. That's good. Christy, what's on your heart? She coming to you next. Christy, what's on your heart?
Now, I did in my comment state that there were men who were great fathers. And I also stated in my comment that there are women who hold fathers and dangle the children as bait. I did say that. And I did say those two are very wrong situation. Now, I'm going to say this too. If any person allow a child abuse, neglect, molestation, whatever it is, be it man or woman, they are scum of the earth. Like, I do not, I just don't. In situations, I've seen women who were on drugs, who allowed their child to lose their virginity to that person so they can get their drugs. Those are all extreme circumstances. And I'm not talking about extreme circumstances. I'm not talking about those circumstances where you be with somebody or you meet somebody and they come in your home. Yeah, that was a bad decision. That hurt the child. And yes, the child did get hurt. So, and then when you said right here, when you say, when you take an abuse out of it, if you take abuse, mental and emotional pain away from what a man may or may not do, then if a woman,
Hold on.
if
Hey,
a
Frank,
woman walks away from her
Frank. Mute your line for me, Frank.
just walk away. If a woman completely with her sound mind, with no forces, walk away from her child and leave her child with someone, and I feel like she made the best decision for her child, and could she be considered neglectful? Yes. Could a man be considered neglectful in the same manner? Yes. However, we like I say, I'm going to say we have a broad definition. What about women who have children and know they're not in a state but put their children up for adoption? To me, that's a smart decision, and that's not necessarily a deadbeat or neglecting. That's putting a child up for adoption for a better place so that child can have a better life and maybe later on get to know the child or whatever.
I
We never know people's situations. So I'm not
Let me
making
say this, Christy. Let me say this.
everything all around.
What you're saying, I appreciate what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying, but truth of the matter, men don't get those same luxuries. Men don't get those same passes, if you will. If he walk away, if he say that he don't get it, well, maybe he did this for this reason, or maybe he did that for that reason. He don't get the same excuses. He is considered a deadbeat dad. And I understand Leonard said he don't like the terminology, but that's what I got. He don't get the woman you saying maybe she did this, or maybe she did this, or maybe he don't get all that. He don't get those luxuries of maybe he did it for this reason or maybe he did it for that reason. He is just deemed a deadbeat dad because of the fact that he's not there. Why can't we do the same thing and deal with this thing on an even playing field and judge her the same way? I don't mind if
Okay, Raheem, let me.
I don't mind if you treat me unfairly, long as you're treating everybody unfairly.
Okay, so let me say this, and let me give my definition of deadbeat,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that'll clarify why I answer the way I answer. My definition as a deadbeat or neglectful, as Leonard said, father, is a father who completely have nothing to do with their child. Financially, emotionally, doesn't come by and see their child, act like they're non-existent, don't call, don't come by, not by any outside pressures.
Okay.
Example, if I have a child with somebody and we don't work, I'm not using anything to keep them away. I'm not using anything to keep them from being there, but yet they still don't come.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is a person that is neglectful, doesn't care, and went on about their life. There's nothing about me trying to get with that person. The communication lines are open. Everything's open for you to be there, and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a situation to where you can be considered a deadbeat dad because you're not in that child's life and nothing is stopping you from being there.
Okay, now
Nothing.
what if that same individual that you just described, that same individual that you just described, what if it's not a he? What if it's a she? Is she a deadbeat dad?
Is she a deadbeat dad? No, she's
Deadbeat
not a
mom.
deadbeat dad,
Deadbeat mom. Yeah,
but she may.
you know what I mean? But so my thing is
Yeah.
the whole thing that you just described. What if you're not describing a man, but you're describing a woman? Is she a deadbeat mom? Because you know
Yes.
all the elements.
Deadbeat doesn't have to have a sex. If you fall in that category, then you are neglectful. You are not a great parent. Something is wrong. That's for both sides. There's something for a man or woman. If you in that situation where there's nothing stopping you for being in your child's life, there's
Mm-hmm.
no financial, there's no person abusing you, there's nothing going on, but you're just solely just decided, I'm finna walk away
Mm-hmm.
completely and fully. Then then
Mm-hmm.
you are a mom that's what we consider a deadbeat mom. However, there's a however there.
We couldn't stop there. Why we just couldn't stop right there? Why we couldn't just stop right there? Why we couldn't just stop?
Because
Hold on for a second. Let me go to Rashid. I don't know how much time we have. She, what's on your heart, brother?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, man. I've been listening, and you know, first of all, as children of God, as Christians, as believers, believe that we need to make sure that we always come from a place of love. That's the standard, and that's what we should strive for, even if we don't feel like it, even if the person has a lot of challenges, a lot of issues. And to me, yeah, you do have people who have those challenges as parents, whether they be fathers or mothers. But I think we have to be careful to not label. We have this fascination with labeling, and what we do is we take a snapshot of where someone is, and then we make that them. But there have been plenty of people who have been labeled deadbeat, and then they were redeemed, and they were restored, and they came out of that state. And a lot of times the disdain for the person is attached to the label, and it cripples us from fully and effectively operating in love. As people who are a part of the ministry of reconciliation, we should be about restoring individuals as Christians. And I think that the perspective that I would like to bring to this conversation is one of restoration. I mean, yes, we have a epidemic problem when it comes to deadbeat dads, but we also have an issue concerning deadbeat moms. The bottom line is the child is being affected. And so it behooves us to plug in and to try to minister to the quote unquote deadbeat so that they can recover, so that they can be restored. I was listening to the young lady who just spoke, and what I'm hearing is, I mean, I don't think I necessarily heard an excuse, Raheem, but what I was thinking about was, like, you consider certain cases. Like, what if the woman was raped? Or what if there was incest? Or what if there was molestation involved and the woman got pregnant and had a child? And if that woman goes through that term and has that baby and gives the baby up for adoption, I don't think it's fair to label that person a deadbeat. You know, as a matter of fact, I would rather her do that than the alternative, which is to kill the child, to have an abortion. And that's something that
But see, and that's one of the things I said.
know,
That's one of the things I said. If there's nothing like that,
Mhm.
now that's not what we're talking about right now, because you know something like that I can understand. But and I said that if there's no situations like that at all, where you know she just make a conscious decision within her mind to walk away from that child. Now, I said not abuse or certainly not rape or anything like that. We're not talking about that. That's a totally different ball of wax. But we're talking about the individual that make a conscious decision within themselves to walk away from that child. That's the person we're talking about.
My question is, what is the role of the community? What is the role of the village?
Some
people
would say
who know that woman.
Some would say some would say some would say was she, and I'm answering your question here. Some would say that in this day and time, now I remember back in the day with grandma and them, it was a huge, but some would say that they have no responsibility because you made that decision to lay down and have that child, so that's your responsibility.
Well,
some would say that. Some would say that. I don't agree either.
I would disagree with the some who would say that, because I believe that every child is an inheritance of the Lord, and we all have a responsibility once a child is born, regardless of who the parents are. If we're a part of that community, thereby being a part of,
let me ask you this:
then we should pray. Yeah.
If I'm trying to throw a name out there that's not associated with Rebecca. If Rebecca she's had 6 kids by 5 or 6 different dads. You've told Rebecca, look at here, Rebecca, you know, we're gonna help you as much as we can. We're gonna help you. And Rebecca go out there and next thing you know, 2 months later, Rebecca got 6 kids. Now she's pregnant again.
So I think that I have a responsibility to all 6 of her children.
You're a good man, brother.
To be the man of God. No, I'm saying I'm not saying go do what God didn't tell me specifically to do, but I'm saying I have to be a positive influence. I have to be the man of God, be an example of righteousness wherever I can help. I shall help, because those kids is not their fault. We got to look at those children. We look too much at the parent who was neglectful and who was irresponsible, and we judge the child based upon the parent's actions, instead of being the man or woman of God and operating in love and flowing in the ministry of reconciliation and having a heart move with compassion towards those children.
And we're going to move on to somebody else. I'm going to go to Kirk, but I've seen a wagon broken down on side of the road. And one of the reasons why that wagon was broken down on side of the road, because there was too much weight placed on that wagon. There's too much weight placed on that wagon. Kirk, good morning, Kurt. How you doing, sir?
And everybody, how y'all doing, man? God bless y'all.
Hey, bless you as well, brother. We're talking about our deadbeat moms. Is there any such animal? And is there a double standard? Because some will say that, you know, there's no such thing as a deadbeat mom. I beg to differ, Kurt. What do you say to that?
Yo, you kidding me, man? You kidding me right now?
Come on.
There's absolutely a such thing as a deadbeat mom. As a matter of fact, there's more of them on the child support list than there are men.
Wow.
Yeah. People don't know that. A lot of women owe more child support than men. The women that's on child support, they owe more child support than men. But for some reason, women get a pass. I'm trying to tell y'all, this is real now. Women get a pass in child support. Like women, like very few women you find in the system. And you like, girl, what you doing up in here? What you do? Oh, I'm locked up for child support. It's very few, very few.
Yeah, yeah.
If they go to court, you know, who a little bit, you know what I mean, put a couple tears on. I ain't gonna lie. If I was a judge, I might fall for it. Like, oh man, she just in a messed up kind of way. So you know, no, we can't send her to jail. No, I don't want to be the judge to send this woman to jail.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So, no, that is. I've heard over the years, working working in the field that I work in, I've heard over the years many of women who have child support issues. Most of the children that I actually work with, I hate to say it, man, but most of the children that I work with come from households where the mother is she just don't have the adequate social skills. Little loose in the head. So I see it all the time. I see it all the time. Man, I done been in a family session, bro, with a mama, son, and the daddy. The son can't stand his daddy, and come to find out that the whole while the daddy was sending the boy letters every day, the mom was never giving the boy the letters. So the boy thought that the daddy wasn't trying to be in his life. Hold on, we don't stop there. Move on the same block that the mama moved on because he wanted to be close to his son. But the mama never told the son that that was his daddy. So the boy grew up despising his daddy and was talking to this man to tell this man that, you know, about his father. And eventually old buddy couldn't take it no more and come out and just told Shorty, like, look, man, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. The person you hate is the person you looking at. I'm your father. It was some real life, you know what I mean, Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, I would be remiss to say that I don't want to say that. I mean, although I know what your question is, to bring some light, your question is referencing or prefacing the idea of bringing light to, look, it ain't just dudes that's deadbeats out here. That's what it sounds like. And we all are responsible for whatever children we have or make. But yeah, there are some real deadbeat. What I notice is with women, when women walk away, they walk away. They don't. They listen. If they say they're not going to do, they're not going to do. I'm not giving you another dime for this kid. You can best believe that's it. There ain't no in between, right? So, for whatever reason, man, you know, it happens, and it's a sad thing, but it happens. I had as a matter of fact, you know him. I had when I worked for SEDC, my trainer, his old lady had walked away from him and their 3 daughters. They were peewee. One was like 2, one was like maybe 4, and then the other one was like 9. And she just walked away, didn't pay no child support, no nothing. And then a lot of times, a lot of dudes ain't gonna run down to the child support court and put women on child support either.
Exactly. Let me do this. Let me pull some more people in. Anna, what's on your heart? What do you say to this? Is there such animal as a deadbeat mom?
Okay, so I've been listening in for an hour. As you know, Raheen, I was not calling in today. Somehow you convinced me to. Christy knows I was not calling in today, and I think I told Rico I was not calling
I
in
wasn't
today
either.
because I don't believe in bashing men or women. I'll start there. With that being said, I normally believe that when a mother just walks away, it's a lot of times mental health issues. I won't say any names on air. This person has passed on to a better life. but all 5 of their children were given to the paternal fathers to raise. She just would sign over custody. She owed child support on all her children. It went beyond her being a deadbeat. It was a mental issue. She really had a mental issue. We were like, that's not normal. What mother, not many mothers will turn around and give father custody. Okay. With that being said, then you have fathers that are bashed, and I totally get that, for not being good fathers, for not doing this, not doing that. I personally have not had the best of luck, and that was my decision to pick. Like my mother made a statement that I try to tell my children now. Look at the family, look at the pedigree, and I'll tell you who you're having a child with. And it's so true. Look at how the family is, and you'll see who you're having a child with. Now, I know a lot of mothers, and this is a secret that maybe you fellas will find out now. When their children are misbehaving at 15, 16 years old, they'll give them to their dad because the dad owes so much child support. They don't care. They're like, go ahead. By the time all that paperwork gets done, we'll be done. The child will be 18. I'm telling you because I know, because I have friends that have done it. Okay. And they need that paternal figure in their life. They really do. I'm a strong believer that you need dad in life. However, if the dad is not also mentally stable, why would you send that child over there? See what I'm saying? If the family on the paternal side is not, if you guys are going back and forth with, she's a deadbeat, she did this, he did this, he did that, why bother with it? And the point of, and I've listened to your story, Christy, and I'm sorry that happened. She's one of the rare that did pay her child support, did do what she had to do, because obviously she didn't have a mental issue. It was other circumstances. Okay. I have a problem when this conversation is brought up and somebody like Christy is put in the middle of that. And see, that's why I wasn't going to call in today, because I have friends that have had that situation, have had their children taken away because maybe they could not afford as much as the paternal father, or whatever the case might have been, because they weren't working, whatever the case might have been at that time, they didn't have as much to give. But at the same time, so it's okay for you to call that mother a deadbeat, yet you turn around and the father, it's okay. You see what I'm saying? So there's so many
a lot of times, and in situations like that, like Kirk was saying earlier, a lot of times in situations like that, the one people deem a deadbeat dad, or be locked up, is suspended license, and whatever else they do in the child support world, whatever else they do. But those things are not done to a lot of the women. He said that a lot of time, if you look at the numbers, there's more, and I don't know this to be factual. I don't know. I need to look into it. But he said that there's more deadbeat moms than there are deadbeat dads. But if you look at the incarceration rate or people that are getting time, I guarantee you it's 80-20 in for the men that are getting locked up, and a lot of the women are not.
So I'll give you guys an example. I'll say about 7 years back, I took in 2 children who were abandoned at the Orlando Regional Airport. I believe I've spoken to Leonard about this, and I've spoken to you about this, Raheem. They were just abandoned at the airport. Never once did that father put those children on child support, the mother. Never once did the mother call to check up on the kids. You know what the kids did? As soon as they turned of age, they went right back to where their mother was at. It's just that bond that they have. Okay, it's got nothing to do. That's their mother. It's a different bond than with your dad. One more thing I wanted to mention was, you see, okay, when you have these mothers that go out to the club, now that really gets underneath my skin, because that should be the time that you change your life. When you have these mothers that go to the club and leave these children with the older children, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, and those children ought to go with their father. But above and beyond that, I believe that even if there is a problem that that the woman keeps having children, let's say you keep having children, whatever the case may be, the families, and something America has gone away from, that they have in other cultures and other countries. And I've seen, because my dad was military and I was fortunate enough to travel to different countries. Other countries have family unity. Everybody lives together. Okay, so everybody helps each other. So I think all of that would a lot stop, because, you know, if you stick together, eventually you're going to be embarrassed that mom and dad continue to have to help you with their grandchildren. And again, like I said, to me, a major issue is mental health. Mental health is so important with men and with women. And I'm not saying that it is okay for a man to get incarcerated for owing X amount of money. But I will say that that person in particular who is deceased did get their passport taken away, did go to jail a few times for child support, and they did also get their driver's license suspended. So it was no different, a male from a female. You know, it's just that, like I've told you guys this on shows previously, men aren't on it like women. A woman doesn't care. She'll call child support 3, 4, 5 times a day, even while she's at work. And Christy can vouch to this, because we'll make time. We'll make time. A lot of you men won't. And that's what the difference is. And with no disrespect, all respect to the panel. Love you guys dearly, but that is the truth.
Okay. Let me pull Rico. Rico, is there a double standard in regards to our deadbeat mom, deadbeat dad? Is there a double standard?
Yeah, definitely. It was funny when I clicked on, I heard y'all going in. I was like, oh, buddy, the chips is in the dip this morning, boy. They ain't wasting no time. I ain't lying. I was going to walk my dog. I made up an excuse to myself. Look like it's going to rain. I think it'll be a good day to just sit down. Y'all got one going on this morning, man. But then after listening to it for a while, I thought to myself, I might need to get off this, man, because this one has sort of hit close to home. Mm-hmm. But it's a double standard, but it's a double standard in most issues that we have. You know, like I think me, Kurt, and Christy discussed sexual harassment the other day at the workplace. A lot of times a guy won't report that, he'll just let it fly over his head. Well, a woman, she ain't gonna put up with a whole lot of obscene talk or extreme passes being made. So I think it's a double standard, but most of it is due to just not being aware of the rights that you can take to have custody or get custody of children from a neglectful mom. Because me personally, I've had to jump through hoops to find out what I need to do to get these rights. And in the process of finding out what I need to do to get these rights, I'm still seeing a lot of double standard in the laws, mainly because I think they figure I don't know what it is that makes them think that men would automatically be the biggest provider or something. But, you know, everything that a man has to do, well, I'm going to say a man, everything that the non-custodial parent has to do to get custody of a child it makes more roadblocks. It makes it more difficult for you to get those rights. And so, you know, to me, I think the laws were set up to sort of, you know, make it a double standard. Maybe it was society, maybe it was feminism, because in general, you will see the children going to the mother in the split up. They 9 times out of 10, they're gonna get the custody right off the top.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, why would the government give custody to the parent that's least financially capable? Why wouldn't you give it to the most financially capable person? But instead, you give it to the least financially capable one, unless he argues for his point enough. But then, like I said, that has to come with a lot of knowledge, a lot of education. Because, like I said, I'm going through it, man. It's like a boot camp. I'm finding out all the processes that I need to take, and I'm realizing for me to actually win, my pockets got to be right. Her pockets ain't got to be right. All she got to do is go to the state. You know. So it is a double standard, but I ain't gonna hog up the time on that.
Good deal. And everybody, if you don't mind doing so, everybody share this broadcast. Take an opportunity to take a time and share this broadcast. Because I want more ladies. Ladies, if you're out there listening, I want you to call in and tell me what you think. Brothers, you definitely welcome as well. But I want to have some young ladies to call in and tell me what you think about this. Chrissy, I know you got to go in a minute. What's on your heart?
Well, I just want to say, that I don't know. I was listening to Rico, and I can just tell you personally, that's what the judge decided, that he was more financially stable. He says there's no difference. Y'all both love the children. Y'all both have houses. Y'all both have a way to take care of your kids, but he's more financially stable. So they granted him custodial over the children. And they never once looked at his mental state. They never looked at he was bipolar and schizophrenic or any other things like that. They just looked at the financial being. So and so that's why for me, I can say I've seen where women go in court all the time, and I thought in my mind I was like, you know what, I don't care. I'm gonna get the kids, and it flipped so quick, because I had that mindset that, oh, the children should always go with the mom. But it changed when I started going through my own
Mm-hmm.
situation. And I just wanted, for us with, talking about neglectful, deadbeat, anybody that are, in going through the custodial, non-custodial, going through a divorce, going through custody stuff, it takes a lot out you, and you have to be prayed up strong, because the most important thing that you and your ex-spouse want is what's best for the children. And if you two cannot sit down and have a conversation and talk about that, and really just come on a mutual agreement, like Xavier said him and his ex-wife did, then that poses a problem, because now you have to go to court. The court don't know you or him from Adam. They don't care. And then you black and brown on top of that. They don't care about our black and brown children. They don't care about the way it's going to hurt them or not hurt them, or their mental state. And I want to go back to your Rebecca thing as well. My thing about that Rebecca person, the quote unquote Rebecca, we're not talking about a real Rebecca. It's just a made up name Rebecca that we chose. I didn't want to put that out there. That was having all these children. That I think that was Frank's friend who was stating Rashid. I'm sorry, Rashid. My thing is with all of that would be, what's the root of the problem? If a person is constantly doing a behavior over and over again, maybe it's the community, or someone can say, hey, maybe you want to go to counseling and see what the reason that you feel that you keep getting these men and having these babies. Because to me, somewhere down the line, it must have been a rape, a molestation, a feeling of a need, a feeling of love, a feeling of daddy issues. And I'm going to tell you something about this too, while we're talking. Most children that are females, girls, have daddy issues because daddy wasn't there. And if daddy isn't there, they have daddy issues. And the sad part is they'll find their mate will be like their daddy. So it's very important for our men to step up and to be in their daughter's life, whether you with or not with the mom. And I'm a say this to my females before I go. I challenge all females to put your personal vendetta to aside. Whether you like the man, don't like the man, whether you have issues with his new girl or whatever, is put all that to the side and think about the children, because y'all have to like each other at some point to create their life. And it's a thin line between love and hate. I understand. It's a lot of things that can happen in relationships, but what's most important for the child is to have both parents actively in their life, whether you're together or not together. So I really challenge everyone to make that happen. Let's not have any deadbeat anybody in our community. Let's do restoration. If you are a deadbeat dad, hey, do what you gotta do not to be a deadbeat dad. And a deadbeat dad is not one that don't pay child support, because I don't believe in child support. I don't believe in putting a cord in my system. If you don't want to take care of your child, I'm gonna do it myself. That's just the kind of person I am. But if you have a child out there and you can't pay child support for whatever reason, that doesn't make you a deadbeat. What makes you a deadbeat is when you don't come around. So females, stop making it difficult for them to come around and be in your son or daughter's life, because it's important, because your son can learn things. Because right now I have my sons, and I'm looking for the church and my friends to help me teach them how to be productive men in a society, because I can't teach that. I
Mm-hmm.
can't
Good
teach
deal.
that. I'm
Good
looking
deal.
for men that can teach my daughters what a real man should be, so they can see who they want to be in their life. So it all comes together. So y'all pray my strength. I love each and one of y'all. Raheem, Xavier, Anna, Kurt, Rico, Leonard, Frank, Rashid, and everybody else that called in. I love y'all so much. Y'all have a great day. Morning,
Take
girl. Call in 678-381-1973 before Raheem put me on mute.
Too late. You on mute. Too late.
Raheem, that was the best comment I've heard in a while, man. From top to bottom, everything that she said was phenomenal, man. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to the phone lines. I'm going to make our rounds. Let me go to the phone lines. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Tucson.
Tucson. Is there any such thing as a deadbeat mom? You've been listening to the broadcast for a minute. Talk to me. What's on your heart?
I'm going to have to be very careful
in
this conversation.
Why's that?
Because the verbiage that we use when we talk about subjects like this, because there's so much ingredients. You know, I could say that family influence is so crucial. You know, because when you get two people that some kind of way they got together, they used to like each other at least, unless it was a, you know, even if it was a one night, they liked each other for that moment. But then something happened, and even to the extreme of them getting married and divorced, and so now you have other relationships that starts. And anytime you choose, I wish I would do that word, a joker, female, or I would use this to extreme of saying some heifer over your child. So you got a problem. And then I'm say this: we use excuses about, well, I can't see my child. You're gonna try to not let me see my child, but it's not gonna work because I'm gonna knock that wall down. I'm gonna lean on it so much till sooner or later you're gonna say, well, you might as well come on again.
Yeah.
And I'm slow about this conversation. You notice that? Because I'm not gonna give you a confession. Because I got children.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have experiences. Okay. But it's no sense in me running nobody's name in the mud.
Yeah.
Because we had a disagreement.
Exactly.
Because it caused us to separate. Because it's not about us anymore. It's about the child.
Exactly. And let me get everybody that's listening.
Have to make a choice.
Go
ahead.
Now, I was just gonna say, let me get everybody that's listening to the broadcast right now. If you don't mind doing so, share the broadcast. Invite somebody to come and listen in, because I think this is a topic that needs to be discussed. Didn't know how we was gonna go about it when it came to me. Didn't know how we was gonna go about it, but to God be the glory. To God be the glory. Xavier, what's on your heart?
You know, some great comments, my friend. I got a watch party on my page where I shared it, and I have a friend of mine, JD, who we've been friends since we were kids, and he's opinionated too with this because we both have experienced some stuff, unfortunately. However, I'll go more in depth with my situation. My ex and I, we did not believe that it was wise, that if we were young when we got married, you know what I'm saying? It didn't work. And so, but we put our kids, they're rearing more important than us being together. We were better parents apart, right? So we chose not to bash each other to our kids, but we were very mindful in making a decision of how we were going to co-parent, like how we were going to raise our kids. We said we're going to raise our kids per scripture. This is how we're raising our kids, and that was that. Now, we, over the years, we had our spats and had arguments and frustrations, but we still were able to co-parent and raise some phenomenal kids. But that takes maturity on both from both parties, as well as it takes time to get to that. It's a very different conversation if you're talking about a 25-year-old young lady who doesn't have a career, kind of these dead-end jobs, so to speak, trying to raise a child or two, or a man being in the exact same situation. He's trying to get his life together, trying to do all of these other things. And you're starting life, and now you're having to take care of another mouth. Early in the week, we were talking about dogs. And I always said, people that tell me they want to have kids, I always tell them to get a puppy first. Because it's similar, right? That responsibility of how you're going to take care of that puppy, and coming to some realizations that if you're mature enough to do that or not. And it's, I get everyone's idea. I get everyone's, mindset of not wanting to bash, not wanting to call out. And we don't want to necessarily tiptoe around the problems either. These are issues. So whether you call them, deadbeat, whether you call them neglect, we have to call it what it is and bring it into this spotlight. So I thank everybody for at least speaking on it. We don't have to tiptoe as much as we think we do, because it is an issue, and it's not going to fix itself until we have conversations just like these. So I appreciate everyone's perspective. There is passion in it, especially if you've experienced, and so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So
good
anyway,
deal. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Hold on, Leonard, you're muted. There you go.
I'm just listening, especially to what Xavier had just said. And being a court-appointed special advocate for children, it's very different, because you have to look at what's in the best interest of children.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm sitting listening to judges and things of that nature, financial security is very important. When there are issues related to mental health or maturity and things of that nature, someone needs to mention that, whether it's a court-ordered examination to make sure, because a lot of times it could be just hostility. And folks call people names and things like that. And, black folks got their own word for everything. So you never know what they talking about. The whole term deadbeat dad, for instance. It's ridiculous. If somebody's not fulfilling their responsibilities, there's a way to get it done. So regardless of how we feel about one another, it's what's in the best interest of the child that I'm usually interested in. Because one, you got mothers that abuse children. You got all types of things going on in homes these days. And for whatever reason, sometimes you have to remove children from their parents because they simply don't understand how important it is to be able to provide the basic minimum care for a child. And while one person may not think that the other one is mentally stable or whatever, what is your basis? If the person has an extensive criminal record or what have you, bring evidence if you think it's that important. I had one lady wanted me to help her because she believed that her daughter was at risk of sexual molestation and things like that. I said, well, if that is the case, let's go ahead and call this number right now so we can intervene right now, because once you made me privy to this information, I have a duty to report that. Oh, well, I can't really say, or I no, you were just doing that because this is a custody issue, and one, you're trying to do everything you can to make the other parent look horrible for your own
Not right.
personal gain. So, folks have to tell the truth, man. And folks have to be honest. And a lot of times folks think that they're right and they're not. Every mother a lot of times believes she gonna win. Look at what Christy's situation. There's so many things that go into these situations, whether or not the one parent may be an alcoholic or this, that, or the other. You never know. But when you didn't care enough to bring a child into this world in an appropriate environment, someone else has to make the decision for you.
Absolutely.
Or the child
Frank, what's on your
suffers.
heart, brother? Talk to me. Frank, you there? Oh, we lost Frank. Okay, I was just going back to him. Okay, Kirk, talk to me, brother.
Well, I'm glad the brother just brought that up. So for the listening public that don't seem to understand what the brother just said, although he just put it plainly, I will repeat for you. Understand that when you go and sit before these folk and you start laying out this information, you better be telling the truth. Because every single person that work in any kind of field, if you are an activist, if you are a therapist, if you are a direct care provider, if you are a residential coordinator, unit coordinator, counselor, if you working in any form of the human services field, I need you to understand. We sign documentation saying that we are mandated reporters. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you report some form of negligence, abuse, and or sexual inappropriately acting out behavior or inappropriate behavior, by law, we are mandated to report that. If we do not, we can be charged with the same neglect and or abuse that the actual predator would be charged with. So I need y'all to understand that. I say again, you are going to report any form of neglect and or abuse to any person in the human services field. We are what you call by law mandated reporters. We sign documentation. We cannot work nowhere without signing that documentation. Therefore, it is our job to turn that over to the proper authorities and or the proper sources to handle. Realistically, Leonard, if she wouldn't have recanted what she said, or if Leonard wouldn't have said, okay, I see what you're trying to do, blah, 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 and then she recanted it, he would have immediately had to call Child Protective Services. No ifs, ands, buts about it.
The next conversation would have been with them.
The next conversation would have been with them, and the police would have showed up, and somebody would have got arrested, and or an investigation would have started. And here's the other thing that nobody ever accounts for, Raheem. You run that type of foolishness, and if they can't really prove it right off the muscle, they will take the kids and put the kids in the system until the investigation is done. If they can't prove that and the grandparents are not alive or the grandparents is messed up too, the state has the right to take those kids and put those kids in a residential treatment center until this case is done. So your kids might wind up in residential because it may take them anywhere from 18 months to 2 years to settle the case.
Wow. And so you're saying to me that kids will have to sit there that amount of time until they come to a resolution.
Your kids might wind up in residential until there's a resolution. I've seen it happen in South Carolina, and I've seen it happen here in Maryland. I don't know down there in Georgia. I don't know if anybody's seen that happen in Georgia. If somebody have, please chime in, because I don't know what the Georgia mandate is. But that Child Protective Services thing is real. One more jewel too, Raheem. Thank you. Thanks, Leonard. Thanks. Both understand, all of us who are human services workers, We need to understand that there's a new system coming out, and they're calling it the MDS system. The MDS system in South Carolina, in the South, you hear MDS and you're thinking about medical billing. But there's a new system that's coming out called MDS. MDS is going to be basically, I guess you can kind of say, the watchful eye of CPS, Child Protective Services. If you're working in a human services field, and let's just say that your job that you work for loves to bless you, Rick. May the devil miss you, baby. And your job calls Child Protective Services on you, and let's just say you ain't done nothing, but that's what they do, because you got some jobs that'll do that. Called Child Protective Services. MDS is now the log that's going to track you. So you may leave the job and you trying to go somewhere else to work, and you can't get the job because, according to MDS, you had a Child Protective Services case. You see what I'm saying? So please, all of us need to understand that, okay, now they're shifting because there's a larger percentage of us working in that field. So that field is actually saving a bunch of dudes from going to prison. For real.
Good deal. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, the more I listen to it, this is a big topic. And more than the double standard, I always realized the issue altogether. You know, like when I was coming up, it was an issue in the 70s with deadbeat dads. But it wasn't as big, you know, with deadbeat moms, which I don't like that terminology either. It's all really still comes to neglect. Basic word that's about neglect. But I wondered what precipitated this, you know, because this is a subject that I didn't hear my grandparents talk about. I heard a lot about people having outside children, having two families, but you never really heard too much of children being neglected. Now, neglect and abuse has been going on throughout history, but not at such an abundant level. So, like, now we have a situation where this topic it has to be brought forward because it's so prevalent. But I realize the system is set up for that to happen. And I look at DCL, like DCL, I'm going through the situation now. I've been going through it with both of my children's mother. I had to go through that, had to have heavy involvement with children's services being involved. And what I realized is that the caseworkers really have their hands tied. There's only so much they can do, and they have so many cases now. They're stretched out. You know, it's like too many caseworkers for the cases. Well, too many cases for the caseworkers. So they're limited legally. Then they're limited time-wise on how much investigation or how much time they can put into a certain case. But what I'm seeing more often is that even though it's called Child Protective Services, the custodial parent has more protection than the child still. Because if it was purely for Child Protective Services, like what I have been making arguments with, I talked to Senator Aaron Bean from down in Florida. He lives in Jacksonville, and I got in touch with him last year about the same situation. And he has legislation to reform that system and to give for grandparents' rights. He was trying to make it to where the grandparents could have rights to go in and make a complaint about not seeing their grandchildren, but also on behalf of fathers. And one of the big discussions was the fact that a lot of these caseworkers really can't dig too deep into it because they risk losing their job or losing their license, getting accusations thrown at them, you know, from some of these parents that's really manipulating the system. But it's a system that has to be fixed. I believe it's actually designed. Like I said, I think it's designed to happen like that because you see more and more children out here left vulnerable to that situation, making these same complaints. And when you start wondering, well, wait a minute, you know, who was representing the children? That was always my question. Who can represent that child when the father doesn't have, or the non-custodial parent doesn't have all the tools in place to come and get custody or to rescue them? Who can speak on behalf of that child? You know, and they really don't have any representation.
Exactly. Let me go to Donald. Donald, let me ask you this question. And we're talking about deadbeat moms. we're talking about deadbeat moms, but if for whatever reason one of the custodial, one not the custodial parent, one of the absent parents is paying child support, and they say they're pay $200 a week or whatever it is, why is it that the system, and I understand, if that money is supposed to be for the child, why does the system take so much of that money out every time the money is coming across the board? And I'm gonna go to Leonard too, because Leonard he worked in this area, so he will be able to speak to this as well. So what do you say to that, Donald?
Paperwork, administration. Somebody got to be paid sometime, and it's just me. I mean, the best thing to do is keep them out the system.
In that will your tax money go for to fund certain situations like that?
Well, we pay our taxes for federal employees.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But you got so many avenues to get to that, because you got to have, if you're gonna take it to the courts, then it has to go through the court system. And people in the court system has to have there's fees, and there's a process that has to be covered. And I'm just walking through what the little knowledge that I do have about it. But once you put them in the system is a scam. The system is a profit organization. They say nonprofit or whatever, government agencies or state officials or whatever you want to call it. But somebody's gonna get paid.
Yeah.
You put your money in somebody else's hand that's supposed to be for the child. But when you take it to the courts, you take the child out of the parents' hands and start letting the court system dictate to what you as parents are going to do. So now it's going to cost you.
Wow.
It really doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
It goes back to it's supposed to be for the child.
Exactly. Leonard, what do you say to that?
Well, there's two different things. Like I say, I'm a court-appointed special advocate in the county I live. So and I usually deal with children who have already been taken out of the home. And then there is also the portion where you try to prevent it by intervening with the particular family before that decision has to be made to take the children out. So I do understand people's concern, but I'm more interested in the care of the child. And men have not been able to be trusted when it comes to this issue. And there's no way to legally hold someone responsible without going to the court, but you don't have to. I've sat and worked with people to make agreements to a certain amount of money each month, notarize it and have it filed, because that's what the agreement is. But it is better to go into the system for a young woman who is pregnant, who have come across being pregnant from casual sex, whatever she's been doing, because it's going to be a different story if she can't take care of her child. She can't wait on you to call. She can't be looking for you. She can't be doing all that. That child needs a place to live, needs to eat and everything immediately, not when you get ready to be responsible. So to further complicate that issue by trying to negotiate with someone is horrible. Two people that made a baby should be able to come to an agreement for the care of that child, even if it is to allow the child to be raised by the next of kin, for instance, like a grandparent. There's ways to do that legally, so even in some states, the grandparent can get the benefits to take care of the child as well. But the reason why the system is there is because people are not able to come up with resolutions to take care of their issues. And I don't care how you feel about it. That's the issue, the child.
That's the truth. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, if I've seen issues where, like, say, for instance, the mother maybe, especially these days, a lot of the women are financially sound. They have jobs and they have places to live. They can take care of their own children with or without assistance.
Mm-hmm.
However, it should always want to, do what's best for the child. If you can do it by staying out of the court, do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've sat with judges on cases that allow the parents, especially when there's a divorce involved, I should say, y'all should go out there and come up with an agreement. So I don't have to.
Yeah.
Y'all
Now,
should come to an agreement.
Situation like that, would that be through the courts, or is that just an agreement that they came up with and they have to hold up to that agreement, court aside?
Well, usually you've had to come to court because some person is trying to avoid taking care of their responsibility. So the other parent has to file against them.
Okay, but if the judge tell them, look, I don't want to do this, y'all go out there, y'all come up with an agreement, whatever y'all agree with, that's what y'all agree with. The court system is at that point. If they do come in and say we have an agreement, is the court system out of it at that point?
Well, what happens is the attorneys for both sides submit the agreement and it's filed. And that is usually what the judge will agree to.
Okay.
If it's fully agreed to by both parties, the judge usually doesn't have a problem with that because you've sat with your attorneys and came up with an agreement.
Okay.
The only time a judge usually would intervene if there was just something just ridiculous. I mean, it would have to be something just completely out of bounds. But it's best
my question is this, though, Leonard, and I'm glad you're clarifying, because a lot of people need to know this. If that were to happen, and they go out there and they come up with an agreement, they come back in, now he or she is to pay $150, $200, whatever a week, or whatever they decide on. Does that money go through the court system, or are you paying it directly to the custodial parent?
All money needs to go through the court system.
Okay. Even though they came up with their own agreement outside
well, when you say go through see, that's a difference. When you're going through a court, that's child support system.
Yeah. That's
but when you have an agreement on the amounts that you all will agree to, that's personally what you agree to. You can even decide how that's paid as well. But any program that the state has to administer, you're gonna have to pay for that.
Okay.
Because think about it, it's usually not that way. What has happened is the person is trying to get assistance. Assistance requires this information, and it goes through the system because the system is the one that's going to provide your housing, your food, all of that. So yes, that goes through the system. The problem is if you can stay away from that system.
Yeah, that's my point.
It's best, but usually custody becomes an issue. All these other things become issues, and usually if you can't decide and make the best decision about how to make one, you probably can't come to an agreement on that.
Exactly. Kurt, what's on your heart, brother?
In the civil rights community that has known him,
and they making a bunch of money off of it.
Exactly. And that's why I was going with that. Absolutely.
They making a bunch of money off of it, man. It's man. They making a bunch of money off of it. It is definitely a what's the word I'm looking for? It is definitely a money maker. It is a cash cow for real. And we never truly see what is being done with the money that's made. I mean, we really truly see that. I've never heard anybody speak to the fact of auditing. Like, I've never heard of the child support department being audited. Anybody ever heard of it?
They're not going to.
Leonard, you ever heard of it?
Not from that point of view to find out if, unless it's some type of criminal investigation. But other than that, no. Because personally, I don't get too involved with how much, because it's the cost of being out of order.
Oh, okay. I get it.
See, once you not being in order, somebody else gonna take control, and you're gonna have to pay the cost for that. See, this is the cost for disobedience. This is the cost that you pay for being in that situation. Everything costs. So these taxpayers pay into this, to make sure that kids are taken care of for parents that don't take care of them. So whatever the community has to bear is worth it, because they shouldn't have to.
Okay, so now I get what he's saying. I get what you're saying completely.
So they don't even have really there's no reason to audit it unless you think there's theft involved of some type or misappropriation of funds. But usually, think about everybody you paying sitting in that court. Those salaries that have to be paid. From the person the clerk to the judge.
Yeah.
Special advocate generals, lawyers for the state, necessary child support, all the hands that have to be touched just to take care of a child that you made.
I get that, and you making absolutely good sense. But I personally believe, this is just my personal belief, that system should have more control by the people it have control over, because we cannot escape. Okay, let me put it like this. First off, most advocates are not going to be as honest and truthful and down the middle as you are. That's just a guarantee. I've literally seen it. I actually had a job there maybe about 3 years after I got back to Baltimore. And when I went and seen what was going on, I was still in training, and I said, you know what? I don't want no parts of this. Because you had some people who worked there, right, who had their own issues with child support. And it was like every dude that came through the door, I started feeling like I was working with a bunch of Uncle Paulies from Goodfellas. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh Lord, man, like this, you're not getting that money from him. You know what I mean? Like, it's not coming to you, but it was personal. See, that's one of the things that we do, and it's a failure of our own. It's a failure of ours. In the human services field, sometimes we take our personal stuff to work with us. But so because I've seen where, okay, and I think I talked about this one time on the show. I seen where dude was on child support. The mama hit bad times, had to move in with the dude. The child support people send out a letter or whatever. Dude don't tell. Have a good day, baby. Love you. Dude don't tell child support that your mama and the kids is living with him. They get before the rep, and the rep give the mama more money. So the dude see, no, I'm not agreeing to that, because here's the thing. Now, when they lay the case out, that both parties have to agree. So dude like that, I don't agree with that. So the rep looks right at the mama. Well, do you agree? He's thinking that she's going to do the smart thing and say, nah, you know what? Nah, we can decrease that. I mean, that's a little extreme, right? And man, she said, yeah, let me get that. What kind of person are you to know that you see what I'm saying? Like, the system. And like Elle said, we gotta pay for these. We gotta pay for these judges. We gotta pay for these lawyers. We gotta, you know what I'm saying? Well, in all reality, we paying when people being out of order. It's just not that people being out of order for the sole purpose of not paying. You got people being out of order because they buck in the system. They work in the system. So it's shameful. You know what I mean? Like you got people that's making these felonious reports, and the courts is giving these high numbers, and now here it is, like you said, Raheem, the father and take care because he done got behind and took his license, so he can't get to work.
Yeah, yeah.
He got a job where, okay, let's say he worked for FedEx. Okay, you took his license, he can't work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I get exactly what Elle is saying. But sometimes I just think that the system, the system need people involved.
An upgrade. It needs an upgrade. It needs a serious upgrade.
Yeah, it needs an overhaul or reform.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I think every system in America needs to be reformed because I think the system in America is set on an old buddy, old boy kind of structure that is not honestly working for the minority community. And I'm not just talking about black and brown. It does not work. And I just think that the whole system needs to be reformed to make things balanced and fair.
Yeah, good deal. Absolutely. Rico, what do you say to that?
To me, I believe the entire system needs to be reformed, like Kurt just said, because most of the times when they come up with these legislations, they are only built on one specific issue, and they're generalized. So when you generalize them like that, that sort of leaves the door open for people to find other measures to counteract this legislation. Like, to me, I feel like child support definitely was necessary. It definitely was necessary. But they didn't put any preventive measures in there to make sure that the money was not abused or misappropriated. You know, because they went with generalization that a mother was going to be the best provider. And most fathers go with the generalization that, hey, a child needs their mom more than they need the father. You know, if you split up, most of the time, we don't want to take the children from the mom because I didn't want to leave from my mom. If I had a choice when I was coming up, I'd rather be with my mom over my dad. Most children want to be with their mom. So I think that's what guys look at when they get in court. They automatically say, well, I don't want to be the guy that take the children from the mom or take that mom out of the children's life. So they go ahead and conform and just do what's right with generalizations of that's how it should be. But sometimes we don't realize, like what Leonard said earlier, what's best for the children. What's best for the children is to look at the mindset, the mental state of that custodial parent. And then also know that you can't predict how that other parent is going to act. You know, that other parent might be actually start feeling privileged, start using the child as a pawn. You don't know this right off the top. So we don't know to go in with preventive measures, and when they make these laws, they don't make the laws, they don't put laws in place to prevent that. You know, so now here it is, you give up custody right off the top because you think you don't want to, you know, take them away from the mom or whatever. Then now she starts keeping the child from you. So now here it is, you got to go start spending money. You got to retain an attorney. To even file paperwork, you got to go get an attorney to do this unless you got some kind of understanding yourself of how to go down to the clerk's office and file this paperwork. But they leave so many legal things in front of the non-custodial parent. And like you said, once you start paying child support, there's money coming out your pocket. Like my situation, I'm gonna tell you what happened with my oldest children. I had got custody of my oldest boy, and I tried to agree with the mom because I knew I couldn't afford to take her to court. I was already paying child support to her for both of them. So now they come and live with me because she was living that lifestyle. Gave them to me with no problem. I said, well, look, this is what you do. Just give me half the child support back to help take care of them, you know what I'm saying, to do what I need to do with them while they're here. And you can keep the other half. She agreed with that for like the first month. After that, it was all hers. She just felt privileged. I'm the mama, this and that. No, but she didn't have any right to it after that. But she still really showed me then that, okay, it wasn't about the kids, it's about this money. So she kept getting the money. And I dealt with that for a year. I dealt with it, man. I did without because I had to pay for a babysitter. On top of that, out of my pocket, I had to pay my own bills. And on top of that, I had to keep paying her child support. and support them on my own. Do what I needed to do for them. You know, so I mean, that left me in a situation where, okay, can I get an extra job? I couldn't afford to get an extra job. You need to take them to court. Are you gonna get this money up to get you an attorney? Well, I can't get an attorney right now because I'm paying all this child support. Hey, y'all gonna have to skip on, but well, that's pretty much what the situation is. It's a double standard, but the law didn't make any no preventive measures to protect the child seriously and other non-custodial parents.
Good deal. Xavier, what's on your heart, brother? We covering a lot today, man. We're covering a whole lot today, man. And but the nucleus of what we're talking about is deadbeat moms. Deadbeat moms. What's on your heart?
Yeah, see that we moved it into the court system and what we're seeing there. You got absolutely right. I mean, it. But here's what's scary. Here's what's scary with the court system and our thinking. Oftentimes, is that money is the answer. That financial stability is the answer to raising kids. I don't believe that the child should be with. When I was younger, I believed that the child should be with the parent that could financially take care of the child. I believe that because you didn't want to pay child support, right? The problem with that thinking is you reduce parenting to paying bills. You reduce parenting to buying clothes, paying the rent, so you reduce it to that. And that's my overall issue with child support. Now, the judge doesn't have the time to sit there or the ability to determine who's the better parent, because you got two people that can't get along, right? And so he sees things that she's not doing right and vice versa. The judge don't have time for that. So they have to base it on something concrete. And oftentimes, unfortunately, it does come down to financial stability. The problem that you run into now is if the parent that is financially stable, if they don't have a good understanding or good respect for the other parent, and that parent's role, right? My job as a father is not a nurturer. That's just not who God created me to be. That's just not it, right? That's why you need both parents in the picture, because we both have our strengths that's going to build a stable child. But if you don't have parents that understand and respect the other parent's role, we're going to have major issues. So anyway, with all that being said, what's scary though is if we reduce the ability to parent based on finances and those things. It just never works out well. The child, I believe, over time has a warped reality of what being a parent is. I think that's when we begin to try to buy our kids and buy the respect. And I think the kids go through a little bit more than they need to because of that piece, right? If you have the non-custodial parent that has a better, they may not have the finances that the custodial parent has, but let's say they have a better relationship with the Lord, right? They got some peace in their heart. They understand, something different than, there's no bitterness, right? There's a more well-rounded mental and spiritual foundational component. Then I would say that child needs to be there. And the person that does make a little bit more money, there's some financial responsibility that comes along with raising a child. And that's what you would hope those things will happen. But I said the judges, they don't have the time or the ability to sit there and determine, where you are spiritually, where you are mentally. They're just going based on whatever, DFACS here in Georgia says, or, the social workers, the assessments that they've made. So it's interesting. It's interesting, but I like this financial piece and the dichotomy that goes along with that when you're looking at, raising a child, man. I just don't believe, like I was when I was young, when I was 24, trying to pay child support versus, 40-something-year-old man, that dollar amount is, it means absolutely nothing if the person that the child is going to spend most of the time with is going to be corrupted mentally. So
exactly. Rico, you wanted to say something?
Well, I was thinking about something. Linda said a key word earlier: assistance. Now, most of the time, we say a lot of this stuff about who was determining who should get custody. And like you said, they don't look to see who is most financially capable. They don't look to see who's most mentally stable or whoever is the most dedicated or not. They go by who went and filed. And most of the time, in a situation where children are already involved, if the woman leaves and she takes the children with her, she's probably going to go look for that assistance, that housing, that child support. So that's where the custody comes in there right off the top, because I don't think, as a matter of fact, for my youngest son, all I got was a letter in the mail saying that I was on child support because she had went and filed. That made her the custodial parent. I didn't have a choice in that. I didn't even have a choice to make an argument the first time or the second time. I just went up there and I was told, look, she applied for child support. This is how much you make. This is how much we're going to take from you. Do you request a DNA test or not? Automatically, she was given custody. Now, had I had an attorney, maybe that attorney would have stepped in and made, raised all kind of, different points and say, wait a minute, we want to apply for child support. But going up there, a basic man that doesn't know all of my rights, or most, that's any man or any other, person. They're not going to go up there knowing that they need to raise objections. So the court system is just going to go ahead and check that box. Okay, she's the one filed for child support. Well, she'd be the custodial parent. She's going to get this assistance. She needs this, she's going to get all these checks and deposits to get those benefits and the money that the government pays out to pay the judges and all these court-appointed people that they need to pay also. And it becomes a system. And the children still get lost in that. Nobody looks at that child and say, well, hey, let's talk to this child and see who ask this child who spends more time with. Let's investigate and talk to the friends in the neighborhood or whatever and see who spends more time with this child. What kind of parent is this mother that just went up and asked for this child support? So they may be breaking up.
Am I hearing you say, Rico, to a certain degree, we get the bad side of the coin. We get taken for granted in that whole process.
Yeah, just being uneducated, just going up there and going along with the flow, because the child support system isn't made to let the person that's being put on child support know you have these rights, you have these rights, you have these rights. It's just all you got to do, if you feel like you need some support, come on up here and let us handle it. It's on them to cover their end. And so they come on up here and let you handle it. Next thing you know what I'm saying? They got everything worked out for you legally. Well, you don't have everything worked out for you legally. You just signing off on everything. Well, I guess I gotta pay $100 a week. I guess you got custody now.
And you know what?
678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. We'll love to have your input. Give us a call. We're talking about deadbeat moms. Go ahead, Kurt.
And you know what, Raheem? It's funny Rico say that. Rico dead on point. Because if you pay very, very close attention, all of a sudden over the last maybe 5 to 10 years, now I'm gonna give the system credit where credit is due. The system has made some adjustments. Like when all of us were younger, a girl could say Xavier is her baby daddy at the hospital. Xavier name going on that birth certificate.
Yeah.
She go down there and tell them, I want child support from Xavier. And X-Man, he paying that. He would get that letter just like Rico got. But then, he putting that money out. But then all of a sudden there's a shift. Now, in certain cities, as a woman, you can't just say, Leonard's my baby daddy. They're going to say, oh, is that who it is? They're going to send that. They're going to send that notice to him along with the DNA saying, look, somebody's saying you their father. Here's a DNA test. If it comes back that you are the father, then you got to pay for this DNA test. But if you're not the father, you do not have to pay for anything. So that's one of the adjustments that was made. But Rico was dead on point, because if you also pay attention over the last 10 years, as local businessmen and women, there is a push in different cities to where now you got all of these auxiliary programs popping up that's helping men that, for example, was in RICO case that say, oh, no. We will work as your liaison in front of the courts for free. Or you got a bunch of auxiliaries that's coming up, that's popping up, organizations that's popping up, that's actually going before the state to represent you to get your child support decreased, because you got a bunch of men who, for whatever reason, maybe was dating a girl, they fell out, the girl was pregnant, never told the dude she was pregnant. You understand? And then all of a sudden, 10 years go by, and the state saying, hey, you owe back child support for 10 years. Man, I didn't even know I had a baby. Well, this what it is, boom, boom, boom. Well, that ain't my baby. Oh, well, we need to take the DNA test. So the dude genuinely thinking, no, that's not my kid. He take the DNA test, it come back his. Oh, you owe 10 years back child support. So there's over the last 10 years, there's been a push to, and I'm noticing, especially here in Baltimore. Here in Baltimore, there's a real push to aid men, low-income men, with helping them either neutralize their child support to a degree that they can pay it, or helping them, I don't want to say circumvent the system, but circumvent the circumstances so that they don't have to go, so that they don't have to wind up in prison. They don't have to lose this or lose that as a result of a child support issue. So the system is trying to course correct. I'm not saying that they dead on point with it yet, but they are trying to course correct certain things. Anybody though, if you can start a program right now that specifically, that your niche is to specifically deal with child support issues, I guarantee you, you will be state funded. You will get all kinds of grants as long as your program got the right programming and the right things going on. You got the right partnerships. I guarantee you, you will survive better than most.
Absolutely. Let me go to the phone line. I got a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on? Raheem stuck? Yeah, I think Raheem's stuck, y'all. So we might have to go with this thing until he can come back. Leonard, you muted. Leonard, you muted.
To add to what you were saying, Kurt, I know in Georgia that was an issue, and now they're trying to change it. You know, how you establish paternity and not allowing that woman to just put anybody's name on that birth certificate. And one of the groups here that I used to work with was the Father's Concierge. And this, I believe his name is Thomas Jacobs. And I usually would refer people to fathers to him that needed help getting through the process, because having helped family members get custody and things of that nature, you know, it's a process. And it's left up to the father a lot of times to really prove that he has good intentions. And making that effort is so important, like Rico said. First to file. You shouldn't have to be drugged in the court for any other reason than that you interested.
Guess who's back?
That you interested in taking responsibility for that child. I've sat in courts where you have, you know, very young people, and you know, the young man walks in there, he's by himself, he ain't got no legal representation or anything. So the judge is pretty much just asking a boy questions. You know, he don't know that you know, in order, he got to pay child support. He got a summons in the mail. He don't know what to bring, nothing. He just in there because he had to come. And so he don't know that, one, if he really wants to take care, I don't care if he's working at McDonald's, bring your last pay stubs and things like that, because these are the things that are important. If you don't believe the child is yours, let the court know that, so the court can order a paternity test. Because if the father has no interest in making in legalizing paternity, then one, you may or may not be the father. But if you agree to paying and putting your name on the list, you consider legally the putative father. It's assumed that you're the father without a DNA test. And so that's how these women are able to put people's names on birth certificate. The janitor could walk in and put his name on their birth certificate.
Right.
You know, and so what a lot of men, and before it used to be, well, he can't afford a DNA test, this, that, and the other, or what have you. At what point are you going to understand that the responsibility of some man, at least pay for the DNA test to clear your name if that's the case? You know, because it's a difference between paying a couple dollars.
Hold on, let me ask you. A lot of time, if whoever called for the DNA test, if she called for the DNA test and it's determined that he is not the child, is he still responsible for paying for that DNA test? Because
Usually
I know
not, but it must be court ordered.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there may be issues where things may or may not be admissible in court. You know, sides don't trust one another. First thing the father, I know all the scams and the tricks. First thing the father is gonna say is, "Well, I don't know where she got that, or this, that, and the other." Or he'll claim, "I've been trying to meet with her, but she don't show up." And all so right, what can happen right then is the court can order you where to go and everything to get your swab or what have you. It can be done through the court that way. So you want to establish paternity and make sure that the child is yours.
And
that's the first thing.
There's another. Hold on one second, Kurt. I want to go. We have a call. I want to go to that call, and I come right back to you, brother. Well, I call her. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Olivia Collins. I'm calling from Montgomery, Alabama.
Hey, Olivia, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, doing well, doing well. Thank you for calling in this morning. We definitely appreciate you. We're talking about deadbeat moms. We're talking about deadbeat moms. Now, we know that, you know, there's a huge a thing about deadbeat dads, and everybody feels a certain way that they feel about deadbeat dads. But what do you say about deadbeat moms?
Well, I know there. Well, what do you call a deadbeat mom? Can you be specific?
Well,
what do you consider a deadbeat mom?
Actually that's real simple for me to do. It's the same thing that you put on a deadbeat dad. We're just putting her in that same position. Would she give up the kids, don't have any interaction with the kids' life, don't do anything for the child? She just turn and walk away and leave that responsibility on the man, because a lot of time with deadbeat dads, they say their responsibility is thrust on the woman. But what if the woman is the one that walks away from the children, leaving that same responsibility on the dad, thus deeming her a deadbeat mom?
Well, I guess so. Most of the time, we don't see a lot of deadbeat. We don't see a lot of them. But I can understand what you're saying. I know a lot of females, they push their children off on their parents and leave the responsibility of the parents to take care of the kids. I do believe that there has to be a change in the system when it comes to child support with men, because it a lot of times it's geared towards the woman, and sometimes it seems like men really don't have too many rights when it comes to child support. I think men need more advocates for them when they going into the court system.
But let me ask you this, and I noticed this from a couple of young ladies has called in, they don't want to deal with head on the topic of deadbeat moms. But if I know that if this topic that we're talking about today was deadbeat dads, you know, man, we'll be flooded. We'll be flooded. And there'll be a lot of young ladies that will be calling in and voicing their opinions as to what they think about deadbeat dads. And maybe it's because of experiences or whatever. But Kurt said something earlier. Kurt said that if you look at the numbers, if you put the numbers together and you looked at the amount of deadbeat moms in comparison to deadbeat dads, Kurt seemed to think that there are more deadbeat moms than there are deadbeat dads. What do you say to that, Olivia?
That's very shocking to me. I would have to disagree with that. I would have to disagree with that. I don't think that's accurate. Women, we are nourishers.
Mm-hmm.
I just totally disagree with that. I don't think that there are more deadbeat women than men. I think that women, they broadcast it a lot about, you know, guys being deadbeat, but I don't think that number is accurate.
Kurt, what do you say to that?
I don't know a lot of deadbeat moms.
Okay, Kurt, what do you say to that? Unmute.
I don't.
I
didn't.
I respect her opinion, and her opinion is, it sounds like it's strictly based, like she said, she don't know a lot of them. Number one, let me just clarify something, because I don't want it to be just that finite. What I was trying to say earlier was the amount owed. There are a larger number of women that owe higher and extreme amounts of child support and don't pay it than there are men who owe amounts of child support. That's number one. Number two, you got to understand something. The average man is not going to go down to, the average man do not want to see his baby mama locked up. I don't care how much beef they got. I don't care how much anger they got. And I don't care. He could possibly not stand the ground that she walk on.
Mm-hmm.
The average man do not want to be the reason his baby mama is missing. That's just a guarantee. So truth be told, most of us will be owed child support and never tell the state. Most of us, our reality, we don't trust the state anyway, so we're not going down to the courts anyway. I know for me, every time I gotta go in the courtroom, guess what? I do a background check on myself just to make sure, because I don't want to get up in here and then they tell me, oh, by the way, Mr. McNeil, we need to see you in the back. No. So that's why I don't go and see none of my homeboys who get locked up. I put money on your books all day. But no, I'm not going to that jail. I don't want to get up in there and they say, oh, Mr. McNeil, we've been waiting for you. Oh, what? So you got to understand that most men do not even report that their baby mama owed them child support. Then here's the other thing. She just said it. What about the women who leave, which is a big thing in Baltimore City? The women who leave their children to be raised by their mothers. You can't, because they still in the street and they doing this and they doing that and they doing this and they doing. Now, I'm not saying that it's all women. I'm just saying that when you really sit down and you going through these therapeutic sessions and this, that, and the third, and you doing these family sessions and you finding out what's really going on, there's a great propensity to find out that, you know what, if I want to call it that, you're a deadbeat mom. Busy telling me about him being a deadbeat father. Well, you telling me this? I got this kid sitting here, and this kid ain't lived with you. This kid is 16. This kid ain't lived with you in 14 years. Where was you? So there's when you talk about it, I think that it's okay for us to have an honest dialogue without pointing blame, without saying, oh, it's her fault or his fault or this, that, and the third. But I think the only way you can have an honest dialogue is to state the inconvenient truths. Report that, Raheem. The average real man is embarrassed to have to go down here and tell the state, hey, this woman don't be body. That don't even sound right coming out my mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. But what I wanted to say, Raheem, was that when we was talking about that DNA thing and like how states are shifting, I don't know this to be fact, but I did notice that back in like 95, 96, when I was in the military, if a girl got pregnant by a soldier and let's say she called the unit and she was saying that the soldier was her baby daddy and this, that, and the third, and she got the military involved, the military wouldn't even halt to, oh, well, you got to pay that child. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to, the state, whatever state she was in, had to send that DNA test, and the soldier had to take the DNA. And what that was you had a bunch of women that live outside of bases that were, in so many words, they were taking advantage of the fact that these soldiers, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea, you get pregnant by a soldier, you know what I mean? There's several benefits that come with that. So what happened was the military started making these women who was making these false claims take DNA tests, because now you're getting, if this is true, you're getting basic benefits that, you know, military spouses get, and this, that, and the third. So I want to say some of the systems followed that pattern, because like I said earlier, I remember when they wouldn't ask, it wasn't no DNA test. If Anna said she was pregnant by this dude, guess what? He just went on a birth certificate. But I don't know if you went through that, Leonard, when you was in the military, but like I had one of my soldiers, a girl in Tennessee, was trying to say she was pregnant by him. So the military, we made that state, Tennessee, send a DNA kit over to Germany, in which he had to take it. It wasn't no, I'm not going to take that. But no, he had to take it. He took the DNA, then sent it back, and come to find out he wasn't. You see what I'm saying? Shorty was she was looking for the come up. I'm not saying all women do that. So let me clear that up right now.
Let me do it. Yeah, I agree with you, but let me go to Anna. She's been quiet for a while, and I want to tell Xavier as well. Anna, what's on your heart?
So a few things here. And okay, when a guy goes to court and a woman, one thing I want to make sure, and to the young listeners out there, when you're going to court to establish child support, you're actually going to court to also establish custody. If you say, I'm half the time with this child as well as the mother, they're not going to give you as much child support. If you don't show up to court, guess what? They're going to go by what that mother says. And I'm sure Leonard can back this up because he knows plenty about that. So when we're sitting here and we're bashing the mother because you weren't responsible enough, because that's what I call it, responsible enough to show up to court, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? That's your responsibility. Same thing for the mother. I have a friend who the dad of 3 boys, they're all adults now. He had more money. So what does he do? He takes her to court. He gets temporary full custody. Financially, she wasn't able to. You know what she did? She did what any responsible parent does. But because sometimes I just get so tired of hearing excuses, whether it's coming from the man or the woman. She did what any responsible mother did. She went, she got a job, she paid for an attorney, she took him right back to court to get what is it when you call it 50-50, half custody. She saw him, she saw the kids, they alternated it throughout the month. Okay,
joint custody.
They did what? Joint custody, that's the word I'm looking for. He took her back to court because he was being spiteful. He wanted to now get money for the kids. Okay, that's just arguing parents, whatever, But At the end of the day, she fought for her kids to the very end. I don't care what anybody says. I respect her for her being, and I'm frozen, aren't I? For her being the mother that she was and fighting for those kids. Although he was a man who had a lot more money, they were legally married, got a divorce, and guess what? She was the at-home mom who took care for her kids. You know, men, whether you have money or not, when you go to the court, you've actually got a caseworker that's sitting there, and they're going to explain everything to you. Now, if you don't go there, educated, there's Google now. There is Google now. There is no reason why you cannot sit down and figure out, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You think that's not your child? Take a DNA. You'll be responsible for paying if that is your child. If not, the mother will be responsible. I know people, women, who have had 8 different DNAs, and they're still not the father. So obviously you were just laying up with anything. That's where you put yourself in that situation. Me, myself, I know who my children's father is. With both of them, with all 3 of them, it took me a while to take either of them to court. One was 6 years, one was 5 years. I gave them all the opportunity, and I didn't want to go here. This is why I didn't want to call into the show today. I gave them the opportunity to go ahead and make the right decisions all on their own. I even told them, let's mediate. When you're not going to a kid's first kindergarten, when you're not going, and this goes for mothers as well, to a kid's first dance, to a kid's checking out the grades, when you're not going to their sports, when you're not trying to even move by and even go by the school, that is your irresponsibility. I don't blame the mother. I don't blame the father. I blame you. And as a Christian and as a woman of God, I say this, pray and do the right thing and talk to that other parent, because they might just come around. It just really irks me. I mean, the only person I've heard that really said something that I thought was reasonably intelligent was Leonard just a little while ago. I think he wrote something or he said something, because it gets old. There's no such thing as a deadbeat mom. There's no such thing as a deadbeat dad. Let's come together. Let's figure it out, because at the end of the day, the only ones suffering are those babies.
That's true. That's true. But there is such a thing as and you could verbalize it and use any terminology that you want to use in defining what it is. But there is deadbeat dads and there is deadbeat moms. There's people that's not stepping up to the responsibility that they have in these children's life. And at the end of the day, you're right. The children are the ones that's suffering, but that don't take away from the fact that there are deadbeat mothers and there are deadbeat dads that's initiating this pain that these children have to go through. We got a couple of people on. We got to be real quick. I got a couple of callers too. What's on your heart?
No, this is real quick. And another thing is, for the fathers that keep going in and out of jail, there are forms that you can sign where you're not paying child support while you're incarcerated, but you got to educate yourself. That's all.
Okay. See, my thing is, and everybody is so very passionate about this topic. Didn't have any idea where it was going to go, but I see that there's a lot, and there's a lot of layers here. There's a whole lot of layers. I still have Olivia on the phone. Olivia, I'm coming to you, but I got a couple other callers as well. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. This is Bishop.
Hey, Bishop. Good morning. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm blessed.
Good.
How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We're talking about deadbeat moms. We're talking about deadbeat moms. Bishop, what comes to your heart when I say that?
That's deadbeat moms. Isn't that funny? I would classify a woman that does not, if she's getting child support, because I heard y'all talking, but yet she's not providing everything that the child needs, that's a deadbeat mom. Just like a dad, you put the dad in the same category. He ain't taking care of what he needs to be doing for his children. What about if the dad is paying the mom, but the mom is, not doing what she needs to do for the children?
Hey, Bishop, hold on one second. Olivia, will you mute your line for me? We got some background noise coming from your line. Will you mute your line for me, Olivia?
Now it's too late because
Olivia?
Your kids.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, mute your line for me. We got some background noise coming from your line there. Okay, go ahead, Bishop. Bishop.
Yeah, but like I was saying, that those are the kind of folks that will fall into that category. They're receiving support from the dad. I think I shared a story with you one time before that a father was in the children's life. he was giving the mom $400 a week for the one child, and then still buying the children everything, taking our time to, you know, spend time with the child. But the mom got greedy, and I guess she had a conversation with somebody. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me on that part. But she decided she wanted to take him to court and try to get more money. Well, when they got to court, the judge looked at the fact what all this man has done. He kept records and everything. But the judge said, well, by law, this is what he's supposed to pay. So he lowered the amount that he was paying. See, she was greedy. She wanted more. And it wasn't all together. She trying to do nothing for the children. It was what she wanted to do with the money for herself. But you can't mess around with folks that are doing right, because God will get you. She lost a lot of money. Now he still did what he needed to do for the children. And then when you got mothers that don't want the father because they're mad at the baby daddy, and they don't want him to come around, they're gonna talk about him and dog him out. All that falls in line with deadbeat to me. You just doing that man wrong. So I don't know if that'll be an answer to somebody that may be, you know, willing to accept or associate to this to your question. But that's what it sounds like to me, though. And it comes down to the reality of what is.
Exactly. Xavier, what's on your heart, brother? I see you laughing over there.
Man, it is Bishop. I'm with you, Doc. I've seen it myself, man, where you know, the money was taken to take care of another household. I just don't feel like that's what I should be obligated to do, to take care of your house. And you know, yeah, so that is an issue. That is an issue. Kurt, I have friends who are in the military who got caught up in that same foolishness because they were in the military. You know, it was some folk off base, young ladies looking for a support system. And they knew they would get that money. It is, but I also see, you know, what Anna's talking about. I get it. You know, that we do have to educate ourselves on what our rights are. When I was 18 years old, that's when my oldest son was born. I started a business, a legitimation business. I was trying to help other guys get legitimated, just so they could have some legal rights to their kids. They didn't have custodial, but at least you can go get some school records. You know, you can call the school and find out what's going on with your child, basic things. And because there's such an issue. There's such an issue with that. And as you know, again, alluding to what Bishop was talking about, there are those mothers out there, and I don't want us to, you know, I don't believe, I don't subscribe to the idea that the mother cares more about the child and the child's well-being than the father does. I just don't subscribe to that. Whether her being the nurturer or not, whether you had the child and carried the child or not, that doesn't mean that you love the child more than I love the child. It doesn't mean that. And you know, that's just the purpose that, you know, that's what you did. Right. So
Xavier, I say all the time.
Yeah.
And I have 4 daughters, man. I love them dearly, man. I give any piece or part of me, even my life, for any one of them. I love them dearly. But I always say, and I've always said this, to me, there's only one love greater than a mother's love, and that's God's love. And that's not that that's going to negate or down or diminish the amount of love that I have for them. I just feel like because of the fact that, you know, there's a lot going into the mother, that she carried these kids for 9 months, brother. And she everything she did for the course that she carried these kids was a connection with that particular child. And I know, and
the whole you lose your argument, unfortunately, right? Based on the topic of the show.
I don't think I do. And the reason why I don't think I do is because you know, there are deadbeat moms, but there are dads out there that absolutely love and carry yourself. For an example, you say you raise your kids. You was a single dad. Does that necessarily mean that she didn't love the children? Maybe she was just in a situation. I don't know the whole. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No, yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely. I would never say that. But I would take offense to her saying that she loves these kids more than I do.
I understand what you're saying. I understand
what I'm saying. I mean, we're both. We're talking about two good-hearted.
Okay. And see, that's where Xavier right there. That's where we're gonna have an issue with agreeing, because you feel the way you feel. That I can't say that you're wrong. I can't say that you're wrong. but where I'm coming from,
get you.
you
Yeah,
at the same
I get
time
you.
can't say that I'm wrong, because from my perspective, from where I am in my experiences,
You're absolutely
I
right.
know that, and I'm a father. Like I said, I have 4 daughters, and I love them dearly, man. Love them dearly. Will give every piece of me if it meant that it's gonna make them better. But I say that, and I say that there's no love greater than a mother loves other than God's love. That's just the way I see it. Like I say, there could be 100 people, 50 would agree with me, 50 could agree with you. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on that one, Raheem.
I know most men won't. Most men won't.
Let me tell you why I don't agree with you on that one. Only because the statement itself creates a separation in love. And I truly do not believe that there is a separation in love. Not real love. Not real love. Real love. You know what? You just reminded me of this, bro. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when its alteration finds or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is a never fixed mark that's built on tempest. It is the star to every wandering bark, although its height might be taken. Love's not time's food, though rosy lips and cheeks, but within his bending sickle compass comes. Love does not alter brief hours or weeks. No, it stands until the edge of doom, and if this be erring upon me proved, I never writ nor no man ever loved. But that said, that love is infinite. It's not finite. And we have to get beyond this ideology that we can put a finite term on love. We can't. We can't. Either it's there or it's not. We can't say, well, we can't say, well, you know, I'm reading a comment, and no disrespect to the ladies, because I got a lot of respect to the fact that you all bear children. But the pain and labor, have you ever thought about the pain that man go through thinking that you might not make it off that table? Have you ever thought about that kind of love? I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say what the bros might not say. Have you ever thought about the fact that this man has to deal with for the rest of his life, that his wife died on the table giving birth to the baby that he put in her? Because you wouldn't have a baby without us. And I think that's where things get lost, is because we done got so used to taking away from one another that we for whatever reason, we can't see what we both give to each other. So what we have done is we have bought into a system that says, you know what, whatever we disagree with, we blame the other person. But when you're talking about love, man, I can't, no, I'm not going to say a woman's love for her children is any greater than a man's love for his.
Again,
okay, so let me ask you this, Ryan.
Hold on. You hold on. Again, I can't say that you're wrong, and you can't say that I'm wrong. It's from where I'm at, it's my perspective. And I tell everybody all the time, you know, we all speak from our own experiences in life. Where I am, I feel a little differently. And I'm a man, and I can say without any hesitation, I can say this. Most men would not agree with that. It's not a popular popular statement amongst men. I understand that.
No, I was ready to say, because if you was at home right now, if you was at home right now and all your daughters was in the house, wife was in the house, right?
Yeah.
And you sitting there, y'all sitting there, movie time, you chilling, and all of a sudden you hear boom, 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 and you see 2 dudes running in. What is your first thing to do?
See, that has nothing to do with the love element. That's because
that has everything to do with love, Raheem. Come on, you can't say that. That has everything to do with love. Now, come on.
Okay, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. And the reason why I don't, because we are the protectors. And if something goes wrong in the house, you know, it takes a sorry man to be laying in bed at 2 o'clock in the morning and he hears something downstairs. He tells his wife, go check and see what's going on. That's a sorry man. You know, a man is going to say, hold on, you stay right here, you lock this door, I'm going to go check this thing out, and I'm going to see what's going on. As a protector, that's what we're supposed to do. As a protector, as a nourisher, a woman has a responsibility as a nourisher. It's what she's supposed to do, and we can't do.
But why are you protecting, Raheem? Why?
Because God made me the protector. God made me the head of that particular household, and I'm going to protect my household. Now, where you want me to go is because of the fact that I love them. Yes, I do. That's where you want me to go, but I'm not going to go there because I am the protector. I understand where you're trying to
go. Okay, so why wouldn't you go there? If you don't go there, then you're diminishing the ideology of love.
I don't think
diminish that. No, hold on. You cannot say that. Okay, the only reason I'm going there is because God made me the
No. What I said. Listen to the whole of what I said, Kurt. Listen to the whole of what I said. Listen to the whole of what I said. The whole of what I said was this: God made me the protector, and yes, I'm going because I love them. But that does not mean that my love because I'm protecting my household. Does that mean that my love because I'm protecting my household is greater than her love for the children because I'm protecting?
No, that's not what I was saying. That's not where I was going in the end. What I was saying was, look, you getting up as a protector because you love them.
Yes, absolutely.
At the end of the day, your love made you sacrifice your life.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere I read
you said something about dying on the table. She went through this process, and a woman could very well die in giving birth on that table. And so is her love is that protector greater than that?
No, I'm not saying that that's my point. Mm-hmm. Nothing is greater than the other. That's my point. Thank you. You just helped me out. Nothing is greater than the other, because what I was saying was I was addressing a comment that you hear all the time. Well, I get all the pain I went through in birth. And I'm saying, well, what about the guy who lost his wife on the table? Do you not think that he has a certain level of pain knowing that he put that baby there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to take some form of accountability for that. I know dudes that have not come back from the they lost their wives on the. I know somebody right now.
What we're talking about, and I think that's a little. I think that's a little off-centered about what we're talking about. We're talking about the love, the mother's love being greater, and that scenario you made I think is a little different than what we're talking about.
What I'm saying, Ryan, I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is when you say a mother's love is greater.
Give me the point, brother, because we got to move on. We got other people just watching.
Well, here's how I end it. When you say a mother's love is greater than a father's love in any kind of situation and or circumstance, what you're saying is you're putting a separation by using love between the mother and the father. God said that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. God said that we're supposed to be evenly yoked. God says that two people come together and create one. But when you say that one's love is greater than the other, put a separation between man and lady. But that's not what God's word says. Not what God's word says. And then it says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. It didn't say God so loved the woman more than he loved the man that he gave his only begotten son. It said God so loved the world. So all is when we speaking in terms of love, we got to get beyond the ideology of putting more love on one side of the fence than it is on the other. It's not.
That's your opinion, brother. I respect. I love it. My thing is, I don't agree. I don't agree. I look at that a great deal different from what you're saying. But let me go to Olivia. Olivia, how you doing, sis?
I'm doing great.
That's me and my brother Kurt, but we have our discussions. I tell you, we have our discussions sometimes. What's on your heart, though? Tell me what's on your heart.
The statement he just made about I do believe that the love of father and mother can be the same. I think people just assume automatically that, when we carry children, okay, we love them. That's not always the case sometimes. I think a father's love can be just as strong as a mother's love if they're in the child's life. Now, when you have someone that's not in their child's life, no, the love is probably not going to be as strong as the mother's. But I think fathers do love their children just as hard as the mother.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I would never get on here and say anybody's right, anybody wrong. That's your perspective. I respect the way that you feel. I might feel just a little bit different. Rico, what's on your heart?
Hey, I think Olivia is my homeboy's wife. I think so. What's up, Alabama? I believe we get caught up in terminology too much. That deadbeat dad is a term that came up maybe in the early 90s, and now mom is a term. And it actually adds insult to injury when really and truly it all boils down to neglect. But I think when we start looking at the bigger picture, we start looking at the assumptions, like you said earlier about you said
hey, there you go.
About the fact that the mother's love may be a little stronger than the father's love, and we assume that because she carried it. But some of these women actually have this thing for that baby because of everything that they went through. It changed their lifestyle. They didn't want to get pregnant. You're just not gonna bond with a child because you got pregnant or that you carried it. Some people, they're not mentally built to carry children or raise children. But I think the neglectful mother that we talk about now was created from privilege. And I'm gonna give you the prime example why. We already spoke of certain instances, but I look at the fact of how with child support or with custody, a man can sign a birth certificate and be financially responsible for that child, right? And if he want to go dispute that, he'll have to pay out of his own pocket to go get that DNA test to dispute it because he found out later the child wasn't his. But the mother, she doesn't have to pay from the very beginning. It's on the house. Get a DNA test on the house. We'll put them on child support on the house. It's on us. So now with that being said, why is it that, like for instance, me, why is it that it was okay for me to sign the birth certificate and y'all put me on child support based off that birth certificate, but now that I want custody, I want visitation, I got to take a DNA test. That's costly. It didn't cost me nothing to sign. Well, it cost me the child support payment to sign that birth certificate because I thought I was the father. I didn't have nothing to worry about. I just assumed in general that, hey, me and her been together. I ain't got no reason to assume otherwise. So even though I don't even have a reason to believe otherwise, for me to have just rights through the court system, legal rights, I got to pay to get a DNA test. So I think that creates a little privilege. When the man has to go prove through a DNA test out of his pocket that I want to be in my son or my daughter's life, but at the same time, the woman can just do it out of spite, not have to spend a dime. You get what I'm saying? So I think that that neglect over time, it has been sort of, it was born of the system. I think it was actually intentional. I think it was intentional because they left too many loopholes. They left, like right now, the children still need more rights. Right now, the children need more rights than the fathers need. Who's fighting on their behalf? Who can they go to? Who can they go talk to and tell, hey, mama said she didn't have the money to pay my school fees, or mama said she didn't have the money to go buy my shoes, but she gave her old man some money last night to go get him some shoes. Who can he go tell when that child might get backhand or might get the privileges taken from him? It's a terrible situation, and everybody's definition of a deadbeat mom or deadbeat dad could be different. Every child, one child might call their mom a deadbeat mom, and the next child might come back and be like, man, that wasn't bad. My mom was a deadbeat mom. Everybody looks at it on different levels. Deadbeat dads, all of us have different terminology, different meanings of ways we look at that. So we have to be mindful of that, when we look at things like that, because like I said, as far as the government went, they automatically assumed that the mother would be the best for the parent out of the natural state of her giving birth. Just in general, we're gonna assume that mother is gonna automatically have a bond with that child. When we see a pregnant woman, we get a certain feeling about us when we see that. Well, oh man, that's so beautiful. She's carrying life. She's producing life and bringing life into this earth. We don't know if she's going back smoking crack, you know what I'm saying, or doing some kind of dope afterwards. The only thing we think of is the fact that it's a beautiful life in that woman's belly.
So I mean, we can't automatically just assume that that woman's love or bond is going to be better for that child than the father. You know, I know I'm bouncing around because there was so many different points to hit on, but I think I just want to really just, like I said, just don't, you know, make everybody realize the fact to be mindful that, you know, we all looking at this through different eyes. All of our definitions of baby daddy through different eyes.
Good deal. Bishop, what's on your heart, Bishop? Talk to me. Bishop, you there? Don't make me say it, Bishop. Wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep.
I'm here, bro.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right.
I have to take the phone off mute.
All right, what's on your heart?
So you require us to put the phone on mute. You got to give us time to take the thing off mute.
I ain't think it took 10 minutes though, Bishop.
Man,
Hi, Bishop.
you and I ain't gonna go back and forth about no mute now.
What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I'm gonna tell you, the conversation that you were having back and forth, and I was Kurt. Man, you know, everybody has a different view and opinion, and you may put me in timeout, but I have to agree with my brother. I was thinking about some scenarios. You say a mother's love is greater, and there are fathers, man, they're like you said, you cut your right arm off for your children. But I do know a lot of instances where women have just abused the men, and in doing so, they're abusing the children, they're neglecting the children. Also, there, you know, I can call this cases where women took and killed their own children for the sake of love, or say, hey, you know, I'm going through postpartum depression, and you know, so I snapped and killed all my children. But then here's the question: where's the love? So you know, I don't try to characterize a situation, or I just try to be open-minded as it relates to the subject matter: deadbeat moms. Because there are a lot of deadbeat moms as there are deadbeat dads.
Yes.
And we just have to make sure that we impart the knowledge. Like Anna was giving some information. And it's imperative that as the listeners are listening, they have resources that they can go to try to rectify issues and or problems that exist in taking care of their children. But I know for a fact, like you, I have 6 beautiful children. All of them are grown. And I'm still a dad, and I still do everything I need to do for them. And I just look at the fact sometimes some women try to get pregnant so they can get a check. I'm a military guy. I agree with Kurt how some of our guys got caught up in situations. So it's a situation that I say that to me there's no greater love than the love that a parent has for their children, whether it be male or female. And some instances show that some women, not all, some women are more grafty for the money. So you can go get the nails fixed, get the hair done, and they got the children running around here with some dirty clothes. Baby still got boo-boo in the pamper, snotty nose.
Okay.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm listening to you.
Okay. So, well, that's all I got to say, man. Because I look at situation scenarios, and it really irks me when I see a mother walking with a child, and the child has a snotty nose, or the child clothes are dirty. And I know children are children, but when we step out the house, my children gonna be looking good. They nose nasty. I keep a hanky with me or wipe the nose, and sometimes all these folks just want is money. They don't care nothing about the man. They don't care nothing about the child. And they quick to throw the child off. And I got somebody I know personally. And you say a mother's love. Well, this mama's on crack. And somebody else raising her children. Where's the mama's love?
Well, you got the same situation happen with dads. You got dads that's on crack or alcoholics or whatever. You know, I can ask the same question. Where's the love? Xavier.
True.
Hold on, Bishop. We only got a few minutes. We only got a few minutes, Bishop.
Try to characterize where the women are. Go ahead, handle your business, man.
Okay. I'm ready to go to Xavier, but I think we just lost him. I think we just lost him. Okay. Anna, what's on your heart?
A lot of what Bishop was saying, I agree with. You got to take care of these children if you bring them into this world. I was a mother that I was left pretty much with the responsibility. Everyone knows I have a son with autism. I was left with that responsibility all by myself. no type of help whatsoever, which includes therapies, et cetera, because the cost of a disabled child is well over $100,000 a year. I was left with all these responsibilities all by myself. Never have I complained. Never, if anything, I still let the children call their father holidays, birthdays, etc., because I have no resentment. He has to live. I'm a Christian. He has to live with himself and with God. I have nothing to do with his irresponsibilities. I still tell the children, love your dad. People make mistakes, so forth, so on. With that being said, it is what it is. People make mistakes. Some people have mental issues. But at the end of the day, and we were actually talking about this in the chat, and I have to say it, as a woman and as a man, first of all, you shouldn't be fornicating, and this is a Christian station, so I have every right to say it. You shouldn't be fornicating, and whatever consequences you get from that fornication, that is your own fault. With that being said, you should not be fornicating. The other thing is, if a child does come and there is some type of mental issue between the other parent, let's not fight about it. Let's seek the help to help the other parent and not continue to have kids. There's a way of preventing to have children and be responsible about it, because at the end of the day, and I continue to say it over and over again, the ones that are hurting in all of this is not the adults. You're sooner or later you're going to die. It's the children. So be responsible and try to communicate with that other parent. That's the main thing.
Xavier, what's going on, brother?
My friend, I think what's important to point, and Anna, my heart goes out to you, love, and I thank you for the strength that you've had in your situation, and I can only imagine it's not easy. And this is what's important to remember. When we talk about deadbeat moms, we're not talking about moms like you. We're not talking about the moms that do the work. Just like you're talking about deadbeat dads, you're not talking about me. So there's no emotional component that I need to ingest into it, because I'm not that, and you're not that. We get that. But we also can't deny that there are some who simply will not step up to the plate and take responsibility. There are some who are raising kids today that are teaching the kids not to trust or like dad because of their personal feelings towards dad. And that's just as deadbeat as, not taking care of the child at all, right? And so I can appreciate it. I appreciate the passion. I appreciate exactly where you are. But it's important to recognize that, who you are and what you bring to the table, there are women out there that are simply not doing it. You get what I'm saying? They're just not. And if they're not doing it, we have an obligation to call it out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Man, it's 10:01, brother. We could go another 4 or 5 hours on this one. Go another 4 or 5 hours. And I was ready to go to Leonard. I was ready to go to Leonard, but Leonard gonna say something. He gonna make another 2-hour conversation. So I'm not.
Leonard,
not gonna do it. That's my brother. Nope, because me and Leonard gonna have one of them being Kirk moments if I go to Leonard right now. But what I will do is ask Anna to tell us what's going on at 3 o'clock today.
Okay. At 3 o'clock, if you missed the show, which was really good, a lot of great pointers on the show, you can watch it in its entirety at www.dkmmediagroup.com.
2 minutes, Leonard. What's on your heart, brother? Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you, bro. There you go.
With freedom comes great responsibility. The white man knew exactly to do with your children when he had you as slaves. You should be making better decisions by now.
See, see, he dropped in there. See, we could go into that right there, because that's a lot of and truth of the matter. It's a lot of wisdom in what he just said. It's a lot of wisdom in what he just said. You got to understand it. There's a lot of wisdom in what he just said. I'm not gonna say nothing about that. I'm gonna leave it right there. Now, Xavier, man, you ain't done. Pray us out, brother.
You got me praying about the deadbeat moms. Okay. Well, let's go on to the throne room, because I'm gonna tell my heavenly Father on them.
Well,
kind of gracious Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the health, life, and strength that you've given us. We thank you for touching this panel, touching our viewers and our callers today. We thank you for being God in their lives. That's what you do best, and you're our Father. As we talk about this topic today, Lord, we ask that those that are not doing what you have ordained for them to do in the lives of the children that you've blessed us with, bring conviction. Bring conviction, and so much conviction that brings about a change, a forgiveness, that they can go back and begin to honor you through being phenomenal parents to the children that you have given us to raise in the fear and admonition of you. Lord, we ask you to touch each and every person on this panel, every listener, every viewer, those that will even view this broadcast at a later time. And we ask you to meet those needs. You know what those prayers are. We ask you to touch the lives of single fathers and single mothers, touch the lives of those who don't have enough assistance, and be more than they need, Lord. So we as a community, we come together and we support each other. We ask that you continue to give us the wisdom to do so. We ask that you continue to bless our health, bless our minds, bless our finances, and definitely bless this station as we continue to let your light shine to a dark world. It's in Jesus' name that we pray and we give thanks. Amen.
Amen. God bless you.
Now, anybody that started a watch party or started a visual with the broadcast, do you have? Is there anybody say anything that y'all care to say something about?
No, they blown up on my end, man. What I'm gonna do moving forward is I'm just gonna share the broadcast. I won't do a watch party because you guys don't see those comments. So
Okay.
you know, but just some amens and some good feedback. So, but we'll get them over to this main Facebook post.
Okay.
In future episodes.
Absolutely. Good deal. Well, listen, it is 10:05. It's time for us to get out of here. For Rico, anything on your heart before we get out here? You got a minute and a half, Rico. Minute and a half.
Hey man, I just want to say great topic, and I'll be over there next Tuesday to see you. Get my show started Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
y'all tune in later on. Come this Tuesday is gonna be the whistle, and it's gonna be addressing issues that really any issue that you feel like needs to be addressed, but may be afraid to use your name. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have to be actual telling some truth, but people that can come in and talk about different things, that most of us are not aware of, or maybe they could just open the door to tell some things that need to be spoke about.
Yeah,
it's gonna be called a whistle. It's mainly a platform for whistleblowers on all levels.
Good.
6 o'clock p.m.
What time?
Central
Rico?
Standard Time. 5 o'clock. Well, no, 7 o'clock. Wait a minute, Raheem. What time is
it? 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It'll be 5 o'clock.
All right. 5 o'clock Central Standard. That's right.
Yeah. I thought you had information, man. You jumped out there. He said, "What time?" You jumped out there. I thought you had it, brother. But yeah, it's gonna be at 6 o'clock. It could be 6 o'clock, and it's gonna roll right into it'll go from 6 to 7. Then Real Men gonna be from 8 to 10. So we're gonna roll all that together. We're gonna roll it all together. So Leonard, we're looking for you as being a guest on the panel. He ain't said nothing. He ain't said nothing.
Well, I mean, I wasn't paying attention right then. What? Come on, X. I got to be real, X. He just committed me to something. I kind of caught it.
Yeah,
I think it got something to do with Rico's show.
We're still trying to figure out the time of the show, though.
Yeah,
that panel stuff.
We still just show up.
See what had happened was. Listen, it is 10:07. Man, I ain't fooling with y'all. 10:07. We're about to get out of here for today. It's been a great broadcast, and if y'all don't mind doing so, everybody that's listening, you don't mind doing so, share the broadcast. Some things were said today that I think a lot of people really need to hear. Got a little passionate, and I love when we get passionate like that because we know that we're going somewhere and we're actually speaking to somebody, and so that's always a good thing. It is now 10:08. Time for you to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be there last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And if we shine some of this light on you from the morning glow, take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. And if you get an opportunity, go out there and find somebody, give them some love. You just might find some love in return. Have a great day, y'all. Take care of each other. Do 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 do.